presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are the West.
So far in the Big A, getting a W has proved to be elusive for the Rangers. Starting pitching was good enough to garner victories, but finding consistency in the offense has been a challenge so far in the series. Today, in the finale, Banny will look for all facets of the game to click as the Rangers try to leave Los Angeles with a win. This is Rangers Baseball presented by AT&T, and welcome once again on a Sunday afternoon from Southern California. It is the final game in this three-game series. Adrian Beltre and company trying to get out of here with a victory today. 4 games under 500, while the Angels continue to make their charge in the wild card race. Big game this afternoon for these two clubs. Welcome in, folks. Great to be with you this afternoon. I am Dave Raymond. CJ Nitkowski will be alongside here shortly, and Emily Jones joins us as well. Listen, this is crunch time for these teams. The Rangers have known this, and it has been a disappointing last week. There's still time left. 2 weeks from today, the final game of the season. But you remember, after Wednesday's loss to Seattle, it was Elvis Andrus after the game who said this team needed to play with a little more urgency, like they were playing a couple of weeks ago. He didn't want the team to overdo anything, but keep it simple, bring that intensity back. Well, the Rangers have struggled continually since then, and the question now remains as we welcome in Emily Jones. Emily, how would you describe, how are they describing the state of the clubhouse right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no sense of panic in the clubhouse, and it's been pretty much business as usual, regardless of the wins and losses. But there is definitely a sense of urgency, and there is a sense that this team, if it can put everything together, which they haven't been able to do in the last week, that they do have the capability and the talent to go on a run to get them back in this wild card race. And speaking with Adrian Beltre, he says frustration is not exactly the right word, but disappointment is. Disappointment in the fact that when they've hit, they haven't pitched. When they've pitched, they haven't hit. So struggling to find that consistency has pretty much been the storyline all season for this team. And if they're going to make a run in these last 14 games, it has got to start right now in the finale of this 3-game series against the Angels, Dave.
Yeah, and I think that's the really good point too, Emily, is when the hitting has worked, the pitching hasn't, and vice versa. Well, in terms of urgency, we've just raised it up a level here in the booth as we bring in CJ Nitkowski. Pitching has been good in this series. The Rangers have pitched well enough to win this thing. What about the starters today?
Well, it'll be Miguel Gonzalez going for the Rangers. He'll be making his 3rd start since coming over from the Chicago White Sox, and hasn't gone great for him so far, but he has pitched pretty well against the Angels, so that becomes important. That's what he's done over the course of his career. The home runs have been an issue, 4 allowed in his 2 starts here with the Rangers in just 5 1/3 innings. On the other side, Garrett Richards has been the ace of this team when he is able to pitch. He has been hurt so much over the last couple of years. He'll be making just his 3rd start of the since coming back to the DL, 4th of the season. A big arm, 96-mile-an-hour fastball. They're kind of hoping he can get it together and be the guy that leads them to the postseason.
Okay, so once again, we talk about starting pitching, but at the end of this thing, it has been the offense that has been the story for the Rangers. If they have dropped 7 of their last 8 games, and the offense has really struggled. We're going to put those struggles in our spotlight when we come back. Rangers this afternoon here in Anaheim. Final game in this series. And we talked about our Shiner Bach spotlight and the fact that this Rangers offense has really scuffled lately, dropping 7 of their last 8 games.
It's been a little bit of an issue, and the timing hasn't been great here for the Rangers, but the offense, unfortunately, just really hasn't shown up over the last 8 games, and the Rangers have gone 1-7 in that time. They're one, by the way, kind of interesting, of 7 teams that only have 1 win since that time, but it has been a struggle. The strikeouts have been there, 83, at his 3rd most in Major League Baseball since September 9th. The Oakland A's and the Tampa Bay Rays also struggling, but maybe one of the surprises during this run, and hasn't been a very good one offensively, is that the Rangers have only hit 4 home runs, right? That is what this offense is built on, going deep. But if you want to feel a little bit better, the Astros, they've only hit 2 home runs in that time. I don't know if that makes you feel any better, Dave, but that's pretty much what's going on with the offense right now with the Rangers.
Well, it's interesting, but we'd also seen this offense pile up runs lately without home runs, which was kind of an encouraging sign up until this last week. But still a chance to turn things around with 2 weeks left to play in the regular season. Jeff Bannister has his team 72-76. Let's take a look at our Southwest starting lineup. Delano DeShields leading it off again in center field. Shin-Soo Choo follows in the 2-hole. That has been steady. Andrews, Beltre, and Nomar Mazara getting the start in left field, batting 5th. Robinson Chirinos trying to make it 30 straight games reaching base. Gallo, Rougned Odor, and Drew Robinson, the man at third base today, batting 9th.
And that lineup will be going up against Garrett Richards. And let's take a look at our forward pitch arsenal for Richards. 62% of the time this year he has used his fastball, only limited innings for him. Hasn't thrown a lot this year, but it's a very good fastball at 96 miles an hour. The slider, good swing and miss pitch for him as well. The occasional curveball that sits around 79, 80 miles an hour. He'll flip it in there once in a while, but it is predominantly fastball and slider for Garrett Richards. And when he is on, he is an ace. He has been an ace for this team in the past. They're happy to have him back on the mound after he had struggled with some biceps. He had a bicep strain. It's been an issue for him, but if he can get it going, they feel good about this. Could be their guy. If they can get into the postseason, they would lean on him very heavily. Now let's take a look at the defense that'll be behind Garrett Richards this afternoon. Justin Upton, Mike Trout, Cole Calhoun, the same alignment that we have seen this entire series. Luis Valbuena, Andrelton Simmons, Coward at second base. 3 different second basemen in each of these 3 games. C.J. Cron and Martin Maldonado will be behind the plate.
All right, all set to go this afternoon.
It's a little smoky there for Delano. Looks like he just walked out of a Grateful Dead concert.
Well, he's ready to go to start this thing here this afternoon. Yeah, what happened with that? First pitch, and Richards fires it right in there for a strike. 96 miles per hour with his fastball, and he is a hard-throwing right-hander. Jumps ahead of DeShields. 73 degrees, cloudy in the skies, smoky on the field. And just a slight breeze today as we get going here. A little bit after lunch on the West Coast. 12:38, our first pitch, Pacific time. Garrett Richards, just his 4th start of the year. Again, you see the good velocity. Everything away so far on DeShields, but a guy who has overcome a lot of injuries, and that's been the story not just this year for him, but in his career. Leg injuries, arm injuries. He's been banged up, but when healthy, as effective as just about anybody in baseball. And you talk to opposing managers, whether that's Jeff Bannister or other managers around baseball, and they all sing the praises of Garrett Richards, the healthy Garrett Richards, as being one of the tougher guys to hit off of in the American League.
He is. It's a live arm. It's good stuff. He knows how to get his strikeouts. The Angels lost him a couple of years ago, but they still were able to hang on. Won a division back in 2014 when he had gotten hurt. Still made the postseason. But they need him now. You look at the rotation, the issues that they have had here. It's a good offense with the Angels. Good defense, good bullpen. But the starting pitching is the one area where they have a couple of question marks, and they could get Garrett Richards back, somehow find a way to get that second wild card. I feel like they could do some damage with him on the mound.
It's 3-2, and that is inside, ball 4. So DeShields walks to start this one today. Rangers have the first base runner of the ball game. And it brings up Shin-Soo Choo. That Chu comes in at 262. You see the power numbers, they've been very good. The on base at 360. Continues to be the, that one guy on a daily basis, whether it's April or middle of the summer or now in September, who is always going to give a real competitive at bat. To me, CJ, you see what has happened with this offense lately, and we just talked about some of the numbers in our spotlight. Dropping 7 of 8 games, something's not going right, and offensively, pretty easy to diagnose. But it seems to me like the big swing and miss, falling behind in a game, and then big swings and misses, and it's gotten kind of contagious. I bring that up just because Chu is the one guy who usually able to, kind of avoid that.
Now, he's done a good job. His strikeout rate below, right around league average, 20% for Chu this year. But he gets on base, 12% walk rate, which has been really good. And he works counts, right? He's always done that. He knows the strike zone well. Over the course of his career, he averages seeing 4 pitches per plate appearance. He's just under that, 3.98, so pretty much right in line with what he's done over the course of his career. But you're right. He's the guy that will give you that tougher at bat. Elvis Andrus has done it this year as well. Delino at times fouling pitches off, making opposing pitchers work.
1-2 the count now on Chu. Rangers were shut out yesterday in the second game of this series. Ran into some pretty good pitching yesterday from Parker Bridwell and then a couple of relievers. Rangers got good pitching yesterday again from Cole Hamels and company, but the offense just could not support him, and that has been a big part of the story. Delano with a decent lead at first. And a foul tip. Chu stays alive.
We talked about it yesterday with Delano DeShields and Parker Bridwell, who was really good at holding runners on, quick to the plate. Garrett Richards has been pretty good over the course of his career. Martin Maldonado this year has thrown out 22 of the 64 attempted base stealers. That's 34% on the season. He's done a very nice job. We've made a lot about how many innings he has caught and wondering about the fatigue factor right now.
And a little toss over there as they check in on DeShields, so maybe thinking along those same lines. Jared Richards, good sized guy, 6'3", 210 pounds. Now 29 years old. And he grew up not far from here in Riverside, California. Grew up an Angels fan. Long set and a swing and a miss by Chu. So a strikeout, the first out of this ball game.
This is a good breaking ball that is down, and never you get to face Garrett Richards, you're always worried about that high heat, but there's the slider at 88 miles an hour, and it's got really big break. That is not your typical slider. That is hard velocity, but it is big break, and she was unable to lay off of it.
So one away for Elvis Andrus. You see Elvis still over 300 with the batting average. And the career numbers that he has piled up in all the power categories. Been a huge year for him. Had a hit yesterday, 1 for 7 in the series with a sacrifice fly. And Richards gets that one in there for a strike. Now you look at all the various ways that Andrus has had a big year offensively. Look where he is in the American League now. 3rd in hits. 2nd in 3-hit games. Only Jose Altuve has more. 4th in doubles. 5th in extra base hits and runs scored. He has done it all this year.
It's been an incredible season. Really almost hard to believe what Elvis Andrus has done. You think about all the great hitters in the league and how he's hanging there with all of them. Now he gets behind the count here pretty quickly with a couple of off-speed pitches against Garrett Richards.
Now there's no question, there's not even an argument about who would be the MVP of this Rangers team this year. It is Elvis Andrus. And when you start talking about the American League, well, he's probably not going to finish in the top 3, but if you've got a ballot in your name in your top 5, top 10, he's got to be on that list. Bouncer toward third. Valbuena charges, lofts it high to first, and Andrews beats it out. He got underneath what would have been the tag, a swing tag attempt by Crone, and the Rangers have 2 men on.
Well, Elvis didn't hit this very hard, but he did a nice job of busting it down the line and putting a little bit of pressure on Valbuena, who's going to be charged with an error. You see him coming in here, does a nice job of fielding the ball on the run, but he knew he had to get rid of it quickly. It's a tough error there. There's a lot of pressure. You can't take any time. You got to be perfect on the exchange and the throw. Even then, that would have been probably a close play. But check out Elvis out of the box. He knows that this is going to be potentially a close play. Does a nice job of beating that out. We talk about if a player dives, leaves his feet, you're never going to get charged with an error. But having to make that throw on the run, like if he stopped and tried to plant his feet, Elvis Andrews beats that out. It's kind of a tough error.
Well, Valbuena has done such a good job for them since taking over at third base. Just his 6th error at third with the Angels. And now a strike in there to Adrian Beltre. Two men aboard, only 1 out here in the first inning. Beltre playing injured, and that's probably a bit of an understatement. Inside, 1-1. It was a grade 2 hamstring strain that forced him to leave the game in Tampa Bay. That was on August 31st. And it certainly appeared both after that game and then the next couple of days as the diagnostics were coming in, we were getting a good sense for what the injury was, that he was more or less done for the year. And yet here he is playing every day now as the DH. And he hits this ball well out to left center field. That one carrying to the wall and hits right off the base of the fence. The shield's in easily. Here comes Elvis Andrews, and he is in. Adrian Beltre with a 2-run double in the first.
It really is amazing to watch what Adrian Beltre can do, knowing the state of where he is, not nearly 100% and probably not even close, but yet he can still drive a good pitch. Look at this, 96 miles an hour with some movement on it down in the zone. It's a big swing on this ball, squares it up. Nobody's got a chance to get to it. You're almost wondering if it had a chance to get out as it hits the base of the wall. But here's the side swing from Adrian, catching that ball out front at 96. Still hitting the good velocity. You just can't help but wonder with his season. Look at the numbers, 306 at-bats coming into today. It's pretty much a half a year. What he could have done with where his numbers are, what kind of season this may have been, knowing a day like today, he's not even taking at-bats at 100% strength. He's got 69 RBIs now.
No, it's incredible the rate at which he's been able to drive in runs.
I mean, you can't always do that. You can't just take, a guy that has a half a season's worth of numbers and say, well, just times it by 2, and that's what it would have been. But the idea of him maybe knocking on the door of 140 RBIs had he played all year, it's incredible.
Beltre, a little bit like the aged veteran on the other side of the field today, Albert Pujols, guys who in their later years certainly have a knack or a nose for doing whatever it takes in those RBI spots. And Pujols not having a good year at all, and yet he's going to drive it 100. Mazzara hooks this one on the ground, right side of the infield, and a good sliding stop out there by Coward. And there is 2 away.
I'll mention there have been 3 different second basemen in each game of this series, and Cowart now slides in, gets his start in the 3rd game, makes a great play. Ball's hit pretty well by Nomar Mazara on the ground. He's got a range far to his left, the sliding catch, fields it cleanly, and has plenty of time to make the throw to retire Mazara.
So Beltre advances to third base. He's 90 feet away now for Robinson Chirinos, who not only has put together this incredible streak, you look at his overall numbers for the year, nearly a 380 on base average. But it seems like he's done a lot of his production really early in these games on this streak. That's the first inning typically where he seems to get a walk or hit by a pitch or drive one into the outfield. "29 consecutive games he has reached base safely." Two balls and no strikes. Chirinos, look what he has been doing. When you compare him to other catchers in the big leagues since the trade deadline, when basically he went into the everyday role, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that trading deadline was July 31st. You start thinking about what has happened since then. Robinson Chirinos was getting a pretty good amount of playing time before that as more than just a backup, but that playing time really took off after. And he's really kind of rewarded the Rangers with a great performance, right? They felt good about trading Jonathan Lucroy because of the job that Chirinos has done, and he has continued it. There's a little frustration there. He did not like that call. He let DJ Rayburn know it early.
2 balls and a strike. Well, that is a strike, and it's evened up now at 2-2. Walked yesterday to extend his streak. Last 8 games, 9 hits and 22 at bats, and 5 of those 9 hits have gone for extra bases. Two from Richards, and a swing and a miss, strike 3. So 2 strikeouts in the inning, but the Rangers score 2 runs in the top of the first. And now time for Miguel Gonzalez to go to work. In the top of the first, Rangers off to a good start this afternoon. And now as we go to the bottom of the first inning, let's take a look at this Angels lineup. 76 and 72, and they are a game back of the second wild card in the American League. Trout, Justin Upton, who has been a handful for the Rangers this year. Then Albert Pujols, Cole Calhoun, Andrelton Simmons batting 5th. Balbuena again at third base, Cron, Martin Maldonado, and as we've talked about, Caleb Cowart, the second baseman today, 3rd different second baseman we've seen in this series. Miguel Gonzalez making his 3rd start for the Rangers this afternoon. And his first 2 have not gone the way he would have wanted or expected. But he gets right in there with strike 1 to Mike Trout.
Back-to-back games here, we have seen Mike Trout as the leadoff hitter, something he hasn't done since 2013, but he's been very good in these spots over the course of his career. But with Brandon Phillips out, Mike Scioscia did not force anybody else into the leadoff spot, which I've always liked. You've seen managers do that in the past. It's okay, well, our leadoff hitter's not available. Who's kind of close enough and can be, and keep that guy there. Well, Mike Sosa not having it. Just go ahead and slide everybody up one, and Mike Trout leads the game off with Justin Upton batting second. There's some thunder right from the beginning of this game for Miguel Gonzalez.
Now Gonzalez gets ahead of him, a ball and 2 strikes. Big start for Gonzalez. I suppose that goes really without saying. 7-11 this year, a .486 earned run average in his time combined with the White Sox and now the Rangers. Every game right now is huge for this Rangers team. That's a full count now on Trout.
You know, I think for Miguel Gonzalez and for any player, you know he's a veteran and he's been around. You go to a new team, you know they're trying to make a run at a postseason spot. You certainly want to make an impression and kind of show that, yeah, you can be a contributor, you can help, and the first 2 haven't gone great. He's going to try to turn that around today. Let's take a look at the forward pitch arsenal for Miguel Gonzalez and what he has been featuring all season between the White Sox and now the Rangers. 50% on the nose with the fastball, 91 miles an hour would be both a 4 and 2 seam fastball, and they're kind of split evenly. See a slider, curveball, and a split finger 84% of the time for Miguel Gonzalez. The curveball has been the most effective of those secondary pitches, a 194 batting average against the curveball this year for Miguel Gonzalez.
Well, we got ahead of Trout but lost him to the walk. And Trout does have good speed over there at first base. His first to Upton, up and away for a ball. Boy, look at the numbers for Upton this year. 31 home runs, 103 RBIs. Never mind the 42 doubles. And you can see he has been a very tough out his last couple of nights out here in Los Angeles. This one fouled away. It's 1-1.
And you were just talking about the speed of Mike Trout over there at first base. And again, starting off this game with 2 very, very good hitters in Mike Trout and Justin Upton. And so there's that opportunity for a guy like Mike Trout to get Miguel Gonzalez to think about trying to hold him on, maybe try to distract Gonzalez a little bit. And of course, then you got the task of trying to get a red hot Justin Upton out. It's a tough spot for a pitcher to start off a game.
Well, Upton hit 2 home runs last night, one in the first inning, and it looked like that might indeed be the only run we would see in last night's game until he came up much later and homered again in the 8th inning. And those would be the only 2 runs of the game. Runner does go this time. The pitch is outside to throw to second. Not in time. And Trout with his 22nd stolen base of the year.
You could tell that Mike Trout was going to be going on that one. He flinched a little bit before he took off. We'll see the throw here. Watch him there. You're going to see a little bit of a flinch right there, and then he ends up going. Robinson Chirinos with a pretty good throw. Would look to be right on the money. It's like a catch and tag at the exact same time there for Rougned Odor, but it did appear that the left hand of Mike Trout might have gotten in there, but Rangers say no. Let's take a look at this. We don't think his hand did get in there.
So the Rangers will challenge this.
That was close, right? I mean, it looked like the ball, tag, and the hand getting there all happened right around the same time. Rougned Odor kind of looked into the dugout. He thought he had a shot. Maybe getting the Rangers to challenge us, and they will.
You see the guys taking a look at the big board to get a sense in the ballpark what may well have happened.
Watch the left hand, that extended oven mitt that he has, and I'll tell you, Rougned Odor may have gotten him on the knee beforehand.
Really good job of letting that ball travel too, right? We talk about that a lot at second base.
Really frustrating. It always, for me, has been frustrating to watch. You see that more amongst amateurs. When you're receiving that ball at second base on those kind of steals or whatever the play is, you got to let the ball get to you. It's always going to be faster than you going out and getting the ball and then trying to come back and tag a potential runner.
There's your look right there, and indeed he is out. So on review, Trout caught for just the 4th time this year. Great challenge by the Rangers and a gift out.
Well, good job by Robinson Chirinos, the 7th base runner that he has thrown out this year. It's been a little bit of an issue for Rangers catchers this season as far as throwing out opposing base stealers. And between Brett Nicholas and Robinson Chirinos, they are now 7 for 60. Good job by Robbie there.
So that's a big out. Now 3-1 to Upton. And he will take over for Trout at first base. So replaces him after the caught stealing. Second walk by Gonzalez.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by Chicken Express. And it's coming. I promise you that defense is coming. And there it is. Nomar Mazara in left field. Delano DeShields in center. Shin-Soo Choo is going to be in right. Drew Robinson getting that start at third base. Elvis and Rougned Odor up the middle once again. Joey Gallo at first. And it is indeed Robinson Chirinos, who you just saw throw out Mike Trout behind the plate this afternoon for the Rangers.
So Upton on. And by the way, despite his great power as well, he can run. And here is Albert Pujols, and he'll take a strike. Pardon me, a ball. Pujols 244 average. That's low. The on base under 290. That's low. 96 RBIs. Well, of course.
It's pretty amazing to think that he has driven in that many guys with the on base as low as it is for Albert Pujols. But when the opportunities have been there, he's taken advantage of them, something he has done so well over the course of his career.
When we were here just a couple weeks ago, there was one thing that stood out to me. For a guy who has had a tough year, numbers just haven't added up like they had in the past. He was still very productive in those RBI spots, and that's still the great value that he brings. You put him in the middle of the order, and you're going to get guys on base in front of him. Mike Trout gets on more than anybody in the American League. Well, you're going to give this guy a chance to drive him in. And the thing about Albert Pujols is, yeah, he's hit a lot of home runs, 613 of them, but he's also adept at using the whole field, going the other way. He's got great back control. He's hit for a high average in his career, albeit not now at 37 years old. And he still goes back to some of those abilities to just simplify and get runs in. In fact, in 18 games against the Rangers this year, he's driven in 17 runs.
Well, it's interesting. We'll see. You think about the history of the game right now, where he is with an on-base percentage under 300 and his 96 RBIs. That's the 19th most RBIs for a player in a season who has an on-base percentage under 300. Joe Carter, back in 1990, drove in 115 runs with a 290 on-base percentage. And that's just taking advantage of every opportunity you get. He only hit 232 that year and had 115 RBIs.
I got a better comparison
Oh,
for
we'll
you.
check you out with your fancy graphics.
We're going with Lou Gehrig. How about this 1,900 RBIs in your first 17 Major League seasons? These are the guys who have done it. It's an exhaustive list. Gehrig, who did it in, by the way, quite a bit fewer games. And Albert Pujols. That's good company. Runner goes. 3-2 pitch, fouled back our direction. And we'll do it again.
Wouldn't that be something if Robinson Chirinos could throw out 2 potential base stealers and take a strike him out, throw him out right now, but 2 walks to start this inning for Miguel Gonzalez. Robinson Chirinos did a great job of gunning down Mike Trout. A swing and a miss and getting Justin Upton would be a nice finish to this inning.
Upton with a good lead again, and he is running. And there's a liner to third, and it's caught cleanly. Drew Robinson has all the time in the world and completes the double play.
He almost threw it away.
Even if he had, there would have been time to go get it and still get back to first. We go to the second inning. Baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. Pat Valaika yesterday had a pinch hit grand slam for the Rockies and an offensive explosion for Colorado. Third player this year in the big leagues to hit a pinch hit slam. Cleveland Indians, they clinched the Central Division. They have now won it back-to-back for the first time since they won it 5 times in a row in the mid to late 90s. And the Indians playing great baseball at what would appear to be the right time of year.
They're playing some really good baseball. Of course, that big streak that they had, but I think more importantly, just look at the depth of their team. What they're doing well, all different facets between their starting rotation. Offense has been really good. The bullpen, dominant.
Garrett Richards goes back to work here in the second inning against Joey Gallo. Starts him off with a strike. Rangers got a couple off Richards in the first inning. Adrian Beltre delivered the big 2-run double. And Gallo in a hole now 0-2. Mentioned in that first inning that Richards grew up nearby here in Riverside and was an Angels fan. That was, into elementary school. He and his family eventually moved to Oklahoma, to Edmond, Oklahoma. Ooh, that one took a wicked hop and got a piece of Maldonado there. That was quite a reaction.
Man, this is kind of strange. Maldonado said he was fine, but let's take a look here at this breaking ball. It was in the dirt, and it was so far in front of him, and these are such difficult pitches to try to block. I always talk about this with breaking balls, or which way they're going to bounce. Well, they're usually somewhat of a short hop when the ball's in front of you. That was a long one for Maldonado. I think bounced up high.
Ooh, this ball belted high in the air, deep out to center field and way up there. Holy smokes, Joey Gallo.
Come on.
I'll take mine on the rocks.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that was fun to watch. I can't remember seeing very many baseballs hit up there at all. It's that big turf hill that they have there in deep right center field. There's the slider down and in, the sweet spot for so many left-handed power hitters. Joey knew he got it right away. Watch where this ball lands. Oh, my goodness. And then you get the big bounce. Like I'm watching a golf tournament right now. Rolling down the fairway. Not just a pitching wedge left in. That's a bomb. I wonder if those people that are sitting up in those seats brought gloves.
That was absolutely spectacular. You are not human.
Mark Gubizan does Angels TV, looking over at us and mouthing, wow. Been doing games here a long time. I wonder if he's ever seen a home run up there.
Odor with a bouncer to the right side, and that is the first out of the inning. My goodness. It's going to take a little. There's Gooby. He was just flat shocked a moment ago. As I think we all were. And we've seen him hit some big home runs. But that one just seemed unusually big.
And maybe it's because of the optics here, too, is probably part of it, where there's just this kind of weird AstroTurf hill out in center field. And that was an absolute bomb. Those are so fun to watch with Joey Gallo.
Man, almost up onto the Orange Freeway out there over center field. I mean, see the passing cars up there. And talk about optics. There was a point where you're thinking, really? Are we going hitchhiking? Gooby just showed me a note. It says that one farther than the Bo Jackson home run here in the All-Star game in 1989.
Wow.
Which was a memorable home run. There's Gooby. Now, he didn't give up home runs like that. Ever. Check swing, he went 1-2. The count on Drew Robinson. So Garrett Richards. When you're a pitcher, CJ, and I don't know, maybe you never had that experience.
I never let up any home runs.
But does that feel like just another home run, or is that one where you're like, man, I don't even want to go back in the dugout?
No, it doesn't feel like any other home run. You know when you've given up the really, really big ones for sure. I think in the case of Garrett Richards, he's certainly not enjoying that moment right now. He's trailing 3-0, but maybe at some point he might be able to get a laugh out of it. It's certainly not going to be today, as they're fighting and trying to hang on, challenge the Minnesota Twins for that second wild card. At one point, I had allowed the second longest home run at Turner Field. So yeah, I remember.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember.
Who was that?
Mike Piazza.
Okay. He could hit him a long way.
Hands got extended a little bit. And he hammered it. But at the time, you're not like, oh, great. Afterwards, you're like, that's pretty fun.
Delano walked in the first inning, and he scored later on the Beltre double. 3-0. Rangers leading. That's the story. But the story is the home run we just saw a moment ago from Joey Gallo. Man. We talked earlier today about how this offense had struggled a little bit lately, or maybe a lot lately, having dropped 7 of their last 8 ball games. And when you go back and look at all the numbers, you could see that the culprit clearly was the performance of the offense. Well, today they've come out and they've looked pretty good. Some good at bats, you got a walk, an error, a couple extra base hits, including a home run that StatCast apparently unable to calculate. Bouncer third base. Valbuena long throw, and it's in time to get to Shields. The inning is done, but the Rangers extend the lead.
We were entertained by Joey Gallo here in the second inning as he gets a pitch down and in and absolutely hammers this thing to deep right center field. Everybody admiring Joey Gallo's power.
Well, 3-0. Good start to this one for the Rangers. Joey Gallo is absolutely amazed the onlookers today with a home run a moment ago that was just spectacular. And now to the bottom of the second we go. Middle of the order coming for the Angels. Cole Calhoun, Andrelton Simmons, and Luis Valbuena. There we go. Gonzalez gets right in there with a strike. Calhoun, 17 home runs this year, 67 RBIs. You see the numbers overall for him, a little above league average on base, but he does strike out a lot, 123 times this season. And is in a hole here, 0-2.
It's been a little bit of a down year for Cole Calhoun. When you look at the overall numbers for him, this guy's been a really good player over the course of his career. Batting average down there a little bit. Been a good piece for them. Guy that can hit in the 1 or the 2 hole, but now with the personnel that they have here, just kind of how his year has gone, they've dropped him a little bit in the order.
High pop up, out into left. Mazzara was deep, had to race in to get to this one, but he does. 1 away. All right, so let's go back into the Wayback Machine. This is July of 1989, talking about Bo Jackson's home run off Rick Russell in the All-Star game.
Well, this was an impressive one, of course, there from Bo Jackson, and that one got up there a little bit as you see fans running on those covered seats, but I don't even think they compare. I mean, I guess a little bit, but no doubt in my mind that Joey Gallo's home run went much, much further. Of course, they've had renovations in this ballpark and some changes over the years.
Oh, that was definitely a deeper shot.
Get my rangefinder out. Get an idea how far that ball was. I don't think we can measure it in feet.
1 out for Andrelton Simmons. And he takes a strike. Count 0-2. We're always trying to get the measurements. We have all these instruments in the ballpark that are able to calculate these things for us, give us an idea of just how far balls have flown. Sometimes, we've seen it plenty of times, it just doesn't work. And sometimes it's because the ball gets too high and leaves the area of coverage for the in-house systems here in these ballparks. Gallows was one of those. We don't have a measurement for it. So the best part about it is now 2-2 on Simmons. Is that in lieu of putting a number on it, then StatCast says Joey Gallo crushed that ball, almost landed on the top of the hill in center field, then bounced up even farther. That's the distance.
Yeah, I don't know if it bounced farther though, really, because of that angle of that hill. It kind of bounced up in the air, started rolling back. It was short of the green. It was a bomb, and to try to measure that thing accurately, and I know you mentioned all the things we have in the ballpark, it's going to be disputed regardless. If you don't say it was at least 500 feet, someone's going to complain. Might be me.
Chopper third, fair ball. Drew Robinson with a nice, strong throw across the infield, and they're 2 away.
But the other part of that, too, is how high it hit, right? I mean, you think about when that ball hit the hill, how high was it from the ground? I don't know. 30 feet, maybe more. I don't know. No idea. High, though. And you're sitting there saying, okay, well, you take the trajectory and the height, the speed, and everything else and try to figure it out. And here it is again, one last time. Well, maybe not one last time. You need to watch this one a lot. But you see it hit. It didn't bounce up. See, that's actually, maybe a little bit. A little left center. But to think about how high it was when it actually hit the ground. Well, not the ground, but that hill.
Now Valbuena. Valbuena with the average just a smidge below 200. But 21 home runs, 58 driven in this year. And launches this one straight up in the air on the left side of the diamond. Robinson is there, and the inning is over. 1-2-3 for Miguel Gonzalez. And so we'll go to the third, 3-0 Rangers. pretty good as they go to the third inning. And our AT&T matchup off day tomorrow. This is on Tuesday. Martin Perez and Mike Leake. Seems like we just saw those Seattle Mariners. Indeed, a rematch after 4 games back at Globe Life Park. We'll spend 3 nights at Safeco, Tuesday through Thursday. I guess the Mariners team that is now kind of back in the conversation. Angels just a game out in the wild card. Seattle 3.5 back. They're the next closest in the American League wild card race going into play today. Twins have stumbled a little bit the last couple of days, but still at 77 and 71. They hold that current final spot in the postseason. Bouncer first base side foul by Chu, and the count is 0-2.
So the Rangers are saying 490 feet on that Joey Gallo home run. 116 miles an hour off the bat. I mean, it's just so difficult to be accurate with that, right? I mean, it's a really good, not that they're guessing. I mean, they're using different tools to get there, but we just want it to be 500. Even if that's wrong. I'd rather than be wrong and say 501, you know? Who cares?
Well,
urban legends.
Right. You know, you can put whatever number you want on it. It's still, it is just that moment, and I think it doesn't really matter what the number is. Bouncer along the first baseline foul. It's 1-2. Makes you wonder, though, what in the world does it take to hit a ball 500 feet?
Yeah, right. I mean, there's certainly some guys that have apparently done that in the past.
Yeah, that big A was in jeopardy there for a moment. Hit the sign, won a suit. There's a bouncer again, first base side, and Chu fights off another. Now, Shin-Soo struck out in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. Rangers got 2 in the first, another in the second inning. Against Garrett Richards, whose pitch count hits 45 with this one. And the count squares at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And that's something to keep an eye on with Garrett Richards. Of course, we mentioned this is his 3rd start since coming off the DL, 4th overall. He made that 1 start in April before he got hurt and missed a significant amount of time with that right bicep strain that he had. So they were hoping maybe to get 75 to 80 pitches out of him, but at the same time, you got to keep an eye on how he gets there. We talk about that all the time with pitch counts.
Well, another strikeout of Chu. This one looking. And saw a little frustration there as he turned away from the plate. 3-0 Rangers in the third. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's say hello to Rick Renner. Yeah. Exactly.
Cut my 7 iron a little short.
Right there for you. Big hit of the Llama. Andrus 0 for 1, reached on the error. And Matthew Boyd today, pretty impressive. Get 1 out away. What? How many no-hitters get to 1 out away?
It happens. We've seen it plenty of times. I mean, Tigers have we seen do it. Galarraga had the perfect game.
Yeah, well.
Turned into a 1-hitter. Poor Jim Joyce.
Certainly the most unusual way to lose an historic effort. 0-2 pitch to Andrus. Breaking ball bounced foul. We'll do it again.
So make sure we go on the record. They definitely hit my 7 iron more than 160.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a little breeze behind you in this one too. So I'd give you. Probably even do that with your. That's about a 7 iron for you.
Choke up a little bit. Use the kids' clubs.
Richards. Whoa! What happened? How does that happen? behind the head of Elvis Andrus with some real heat on that one.
Yeah, scary moment here for Elvis, and you see him there. We see him smiling all the time, but not this time. And that ball just slipped out of the hand of Garrett Richards. He reacted immediately as he was kind of looking down at his hand. Ball went right behind the back of Elvis Andrus. Some really good velocity.
A chopper to shortstop. Nettleton Simmons retires his opposite number. All right, that'll bring up Adrian Beltre. We check in again with Emily Jones.
Adrian talked yesterday after the game, guys, about, how he's handling and managing the injury. And he said, normally he would have obviously a little more rehab time than he did with this injury. He said not that he would have gone on a rehab assignment, but he at least would have been able to work himself back, taking a little bit more time. He said it's taking him a few games to adjust to basically what he's calling his new swing, where he doesn't use the lower half of his body. It's basically just all arms. So he said he felt like it would take him a few games, and I think we saw the result of that coming together with the so-called new swing earlier in his first at-bat.
That is amazing because he drove that ball really well in the gap, and we know that his legs are bothering him, and you think about if he's able to use his legs, and that's probably out of the ballpark. And to sit there and really only try to hit with your upper body is asking a lot. Now, Adrian Beltre is a future Hall of Famer. He's got unbelievable talent, but yeah, you know that when you can't completely use your lower half, and you can see it there, really not driving with that back leg. To see him do what he did in that first at bat makes it all the more incredible.
Off the end of the bat this time to Richards, who will lead his first baseman to the bag, and that completes a 1-2-3 inning. First of the afternoon for Richards. We've played 2.5 here in Anaheim. Through 2, Rangers offense has posted 3 early runs. And attention smartphone users, download the Ballpark app for access to Mobile Monday ticket offers. Fans using the Ballpark app have access to $5 upper reserve tickets on select Mondays. We can only select one more of them. In fact, you can get $5 tickets for September 25th. The Rangers and Astros opening game of that series. Remember, this Mobile Monday ticket offer only available through the Ballpark app. Download it today. All right, C.J. Cron will start things off here in the 3rd inning. And he takes one just off the outside corner from Miguel Gonzalez. Cron's first at bat of the day, .256 average. Seventh in the order for the Angels. And it's now 1-1. He was 0 for 2 last night with a walk. Had a hit in Friday night's game. It was a home run. Didn't miss by much.
That's good fastball, just in off the plate from Miguel Gonzalez, who so far has thrown the ball pretty well here through his first 2 innings. It's been mostly fastballs for him. You see 32 pitches there. 23 of them have been fastballs for Gonzalez.
Gonzalez gave up a couple of walks in the first inning, but a caught stealing. And then a line-out double play helped negate those 2 walks. But behind Cron here, 3-1. And the count now full. Cron is a guy who's getting some more regular playing time lately, thanks to the injury to Yunel Escobar. Escobar has been out since August 8th for the Angels. Their everyday third baseman. He's got a strained oblique muscle. Luis Valbuena has taken over at third base, and Cron has gotten all the time at first as a result. And for Cron, he got off to a horrible start. 18 hits in his first 44 games this year. Well, they're 18 RBIs for the first 44 games this year. But has turned it up since the All-Star break. He's been very good since the break, hitting almost 290 since the All-Star game. He's driven in a lot of runs. Fouls that one away and stays alive here.
Yeah, kind of interesting with him when you look at C.J. Cron. There are other numbers between the first half and the second half for him. He's shown great power and has swung the bat really well. But you look at that potential, right? So it's 15 home runs, this year combined, and what he has done over the course of his career. 16 home runs in each of the last 2 seasons. He's been up and down twice. I mean, 2 trips to the minor leagues this year. Kind of surprising when you think about that kind of bat.
He goes down to first via the walk. It'll bring up Martin Maldonado. This is the 3rd start for Miguel Gonzalez in a Rangers uniform, and the first 2 have not gone well. And the manager gave us some insight on that. Emily, what was his thoughts today on Miguel Gonzalez?
Yeah, he said his inability to effectively utilize his split finger has been the biggest thing that he's seen as far as what he was able to do for the White Sox. It's particularly against the Rangers. He hasn't been able to do it here. Miguel Gonzalez, in talking to him yesterday, basically acknowledged as much, but he did think that this was a start where he could break out. Partially because he said he feels comfortable here. This is where he made his major league debut, and he said something interesting, and CJ, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. He likes the mound here. He said it's a high mound and he feels comfortable pitching off of it.
Oh, no doubt. There are certain mounds you get on, and they probably may not even actually be any higher or lower, but it's how it feels to you, right? Every guy is different. There are certain mounds that you'll step on. You just love the feel of the dirt. You feel like you might be closer to the hitter. You're not, but it feels that way. When you have the higher mound, it could be just based on what you see behind you. Could be the weather, makes your body feel a little bit better. There's so many different things that go into it. You'll find certain ballparks where some guys just hate pitching there. They're not successful at all. And then other pitchers that love that ballpark. So it's not even consistent necessarily from pitcher to pitcher. This ballpark is a pretty good one to hit in for home run hitters. Not exceptionally big. That 390 gap gets maybe a little big out in left center field. But this is a good place to hit. But for Miguel Gonzalez, I'm sure he was very encouraged to know that he's going to be getting his 3rd start here against the Angels.
Cron takes off, but Maldonado spoils the pitch. The count 1-2. There's one ballpark that I'm sure it's not universally revered this way, but pretty close. The one I don't think I've ever heard a pitcher gripe about pitching at Dodger Stadium. They love the mound, and it is a good place to pitch.
Yep, ball doesn't carry nearly as well. Is there a guy that loves pitching in Colorado? Have we run into that guy yet?
I haven't heard that one a lot, yeah.
Well, I love when we go here. Well, that split finger that Emily was talking about, just one thrown so far for Miguel Gonzalez in these first 40 pitches.
2-2, and is that? I mean, maybe that's because he doesn't feel like he. Because Banny was saying too. He said it's one thing, it's commanding it. He said it's also just not real. It hasn't been sharp for him. And he says the 2 kind of go hand in hand. So. Is that a situation today where maybe he's feeling like, I don't know, let's just see if I can go without it?
If it doesn't feel right, if it's not there, if it hasn't felt right over the last couple of starts, you kind of put it in your back pocket and try to make other things work. He's got the curveball, he's got the slider, so you go with those, and then maybe you can find a split finger or 2 in the right time to try to use it if it's going to help you. But it does happen. You would think that it should be consistent, but it's almost like sometimes certain pitches can get a little emotional on you, and they're not quite the same. And you try to figure out, did I accidentally alter my grip a little bit? That happens over the course of the year, so you have to dig in. And, of course, for Miguel Gonzalez coming here with a new pitching coach, And Doug Roquel, who doesn't necessarily know the history, hasn't had the conversations with him in the past, it could be a little bit difficult to try to find what is actually going on with that pitch and why it's been an issue.
Cron leads again, not going. And the 2-2 fouled off. Maldonado keeps the at-bat alive. Bottom of the third inning today here in Anaheim. Final game of this series. Rangers looking for a win just to escape LA and get to Seattle. While these Angels, they're still putting pressure on the Minnesota Twins, and this is a critical game for them. Critical for both teams, I guess, might be the best way to put it. This one is outside, and now it's a full count on Maldonado. Miguel Gonzalez, his first 2 starts with the Rangers, went 3 innings at Atlanta, went 2 1/3 against the Mariners. Runner goes, a swing and a miss. The throw down to second is high. And in fact goes out into center field. Cron with a stolen base. He'll head to third. A steal and an E2. 1 out, but the Angels have a man down at third.
We'll take a look here at the throw by Robinson Chirinos. Looked like it sailed on him a little bit after the swing and the miss. You'll see it here first. Good pitch down, 93-mile-an-hour fastball. I was wondering if there was going to be any possibility of an interference call, but there was not. So as the throw takes off, and you see Rougned Odor, he did a good job backing it up, but he actually ended up tipping that ball a little bit, slowing it down. It looked like at least that's what happened. He tried to kind of do the fake throw, maybe get C.J. Cron to hesitate for a second, but because that ball kind of died as it got to center field, there was nothing that they could do. That's a tough play. It's almost like the tip drill, right? You're sitting there, right. You're expecting Elvis to catch that ball. You're in the backup spot. Not quite sure if you're going to have to come into play, and so kind of a bad break there for the Rangers.
1 out on the Maldonado strikeout. And now Cowart getting the start today at second base. Cowart, though, has not put up big numbers at the plate. And he takes one in. It's 1-1. Last year, Cowart played 31 games in the big leagues, had 15 hits. This is his 40th game this year. He has 21 hits. Spent the better part of the year at AAA Salt Lake. And it's 1-2. Well, this would be a good guy. Talk about strikeout candidates. This would be a great idea to strike this guy out if you're Miguel Gonzalez. Keep Cron at third.
Anything you can do to prevent that runner from scoring right now, because the infield is back, and so ground ball will score C.J. Cron, and so you get way ahead of the count. You go for the strikeout, but unfortunately Miguel Gonzalez, that ball ended up clipping Cowart and goes down to the hit by pitch.
And so now 2 men on, and you have to deal with Trout.
Well, you mentioned it, and the strikeout is exactly what Miguel Gonzalez was thinking. He threw a breaking ball down and in earlier that Cowart swung over the top of. Well, that one got away from Gonzalez a little bit and just caught, looked like the pant leg, on the left leg there of Caleb Cowart.
Well, 3-0 game, but a very dangerous man to the plate here with a couple of men on base. Trout walked in the first inning. Gonzalez gets him to check his swing. Bouncer to first, to throw to the plate, and they get the out at the plate. Great throw by Joey Gallo, good reaction. And C.J. Cron gunned down for the second out of the inning.
A great defensive play by Joey Gallo, and it all started off with that check swing from Mike Trout. So a good pitch first from Miguel Gonzalez to get Mike Trout kind of caught in the middle. And then look at Joey Gallo coming off and realizing, you know, the best play is the one that's going to be right in front of you, and had all day to get C.J. Cron. He made a good throw. Good job by Robinson Chirinos to get that tag down. Angels now look like they're thinking about maybe challenging this and wondering if the foot of C.J. Cron got under the tag, and they are indeed now. We'll see. So it's just coming out. Now it's either going to be the challenge of the foot getting in there, or are they a little bit concerned and wondering about whether or not home plate was blocked by Robinson Chirinos?
Scioscia might be playing all angles right now as he goes out there. I'm going to run this one up the flagpole first.
Well, you see Robinson Chirinos is in the right spot. I don't think he's blocking home plate. There is a clear path to home for C.J. Cron. You see it there. Left foot a little bit in front, but the ground balls to the infield get a little bit more leeway than ones that are coming from the outfield as far as that rule goes. And they are indeed going to ask for a replay. The question is which part of the replay, right? You got to ask specifically what you want, right, in the spot.
And the other question is, and we have seen Scioscia do this, to see if he can get it to be a crew challenge versus his own challenge. So we will find out eventually. The one thing we do know is they're looking at it back in New York at Replay Central, Chelsea Market. Interesting. It's funny how the game has changed with instant replay, because that was not a particularly close play.
Nope, and I don't think he's challenging whether or not C.J. Cron was safe. I'm going to watch the foot there and see if it gets in. I don't think that's what they're asking, and I don't think that's a challenge. I wonder if Mike Scioscia is challenging the catcher rules here at home plate. And those rules have been now in place for a couple of years, and the idea, of course, behind them was to protect the catchers and the issues that we saw, the Buster Posey rule, as we've called it. And once the catcher has the ball, the way it works is that you cannot block the plate unless you have possession of the baseball. The catcher cannot block the pathway of the runner as he's trying to score. That's how the rule reads. And then, of course, the umpire could decide, if it's his judgment, that the catcher without the ball blocks the pathway of the runner, then he would be called safe.
All right, well, the challenge falls flat for Mike Scioscia. The out stands. 2 men on, 2 out now. And it brings up Justin Upton.
I got to believe what they saw there was Robinson Chirinos' left foot. That's what they didn't like, and they thought maybe that was blocking the play before he had the ball.
Well, here's Justin Upton now. Coward at second, Trout at first. And Gonzalez starts him with a breaking ball off the plate for ball 1. Well, we mentioned Upton with a couple of home runs yesterday. He's now at a career high in RBIs this year, 103 of them. His home runs at 31, also tying a career high. He's done it twice before in his career. And he takes a strike. It's 1-1.
It's a good 1-0 breaking ball from Miguel Gonzalez. You know that Justin Upton is a good fastball hitter. And a home run yesterday also on a changeup. It's a breaking ball. It is perfectly located in a fastball count.
.93 miles per hour and on the corner.
That's great execution. Now back to back, you throw that slower curveball at 80 miles an hour. Fastball right on the corner. Justin Upton didn't like it. Looked like a pretty good pitch. Pitcher's pitch, we call it, right on the corner.
1 strikeout today for Gonzalez. So far, has worked around 3 walks and a hit batter. The 1-2. And Upton wouldn't take the bait.
I mentioned Justin Upton. He's having that huge year. 4-seam fastballs, he's actually only hitting .239 against, right? That straight fastball. He does have 5 home runs on that pitch against righties this year. But the two-seam fastball, this is interesting. A little bit more movement on it. He's hitting .357 against that pitch when he sees them from right-handed pitchers. So it almost seems like the 4-seam fastball away is better than maybe that 2-seam fastball in.
I'm going to turn and throw back to second, but Cowart, plenty of time to get back in there. In fact, he got to the bag. Odor never did.
Like Rookie was about, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 feet behind second base when he caught that ball. He really darted for the bag. You see Gonzalez after he'd thrown the ball and Odor gave it back to him and gave a little tap on the chest. Oh, my bad.
2-2. Check swing. Did he go? No. He does strike out a lot, up to 160 strikeouts this year. That was close.
And Chirinos tried to sell it a little bit. Let's watch Justin Upton. He does a good job. Yeah, he held up.
Upton drew the walk in the first inning. Worked the count full here. Runners go. And a swing and a high fly ball left field. But medium depth, and Mazara is there. So the inning is done. Nothing doing for the Angels. We go to the fourth. Due up third in the inning, Joey Gallo. He's already hit one 2 miles earlier today. Three-run lead. And one more reminder, Wednesday, September 27th. It's the last chance to enjoy dollar hot dogs this season, courtesy of Texas Chili Company. Don't miss the last midweek day game. Rangers and Astros, 105. And it's dollar hot dog day. Get your tickets at texasrangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Well, here in the fourth inning, Mazara, Chirinos, and Gallo, 5th, 6th, and 7th place hitters for the Rangers. Got 2 runs in the first, another run in the second inning. Offense looking a little better today than it has the last couple of days. I guess when you hit one almost 500 feet as Gallo did, that tends to make everything look better. And Mazara trying to match him. It just went high in the air to center, but it's not going to carry. Flies out to Trout, 1 away in the fourth.
You know, Emily was talking earlier about Adrian Beltre having to adjust a little bit with his swing and the lower body issues that he's having. You know, we've talked about that as well with Nomar Mazara. He's playing through a little bit of some lower body issues. And you do wonder sometimes how that affects a guy's swing. I mean, you're always taught about hitting with your lower half first, and you know, if it's not 100%, it's like anything. We talk about it with pitchers all the time, right? This is bothering me a little bit, so I overcompensate, and then you end up getting hurt another way. And I'm not saying Nomar Mazara is going to get hurt, but you do wonder a little bit how much the little things that are bugging some of these guys now, especially in the lower half of their bodies, are really affecting their swings.
Well, Mazara's 0 for 2. Chirinos struck out in the first inning. Trying to keep his on-base streak alive today. Garrett Richards to the plate, and that good fastball is off the plate. 96 miles per hour, hard thrower. And I read something today. I suppose I should find it before I just try to recall it randomly and throw things out there. But bouncer third base, Valbuena on top of it, and there are 2 out. So this is the note on Fangraphs. If you look at fastball velocity, average fastball velocity starting at the 2014 season and going forward, and for guys with at least 400 innings pitched, right? So guys who have put some work in since 2014. Richards averaging over 96 miles per hour with that fastball, and that's the best number in all of Major League Baseball. He is the consistently hardest throwing pitcher.
Yeah, there's the upside. It exists with him. They've seen it over the course of his career.
Oh, what a great diving play at first base by C.J. Cron. Wow, did he take one away that time from Joey Gallo. A 1-2-3. Top of the 4th inning, Gallo got robbed. He's retired 9 in a row, and partly because he's getting a little defensive help. Joey Gallo just a moment ago.
That's a really nice play by C.J. Cron and poor Joey Gallo. I say poor Joey Gallo. He's pretty happy with his first at-bat, but we've seen this a couple of times for him. He's hit the ball really hard to the right side, and defensive first baseman has made a nice play. But more importantly, you think about quality of at-bats, that's what matters. And Joey Gallo, of course, wanted that base hit, did everything he could to get that base hit, and it was taken away from him. But more importantly, swinging the bat well so far here through 2 at-bats, has squared up the baseball both times.
Well, Albert Pujols will start things off in this 4th inning for the Angels. Pujols, Calhoun, and Andrelton Simmons. And Gonzalez gets right in there with strike 1. Albert lined into a double play. That was in the 1st inning. Upton was running on the pitch and lashed one down to 3rd, but now in a hole 0-2. Gonzalez has handled Pujols well over the years. Albert 3 for 20 against Gonzalez, and a bouncing ball. That's one to the shortstop. Andrews has all kinds of time with Pujols running, and that is out number 1. Well, Gonzalez, first time he's pitched into the 4th inning for the Rangers, and you look at what Texas starters have done against the Angels in this series, they've been certainly very good enough to put their team in a position to win. 8-4 on the year, a 3.23 ERA.
You'll take those numbers, better than 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio against a very good offense, right? A team that certainly expects to contend in the American League West, but on that starting pitcher side of things, then you got Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, Cole Calhoun, now of course Justin Upton in that lineup as well. It's no easy task, but the Rangers certainly have done a very nice job against the Angels this season, as their starting pitchers have.
Final time these two teams get together this year. Rangers have already cinched the season series. They have 10 wins to 8 victories for the Angels, with this one being the final game they'll play this year. And a pop-up foul over to the left side, way out of play by Calhoun. Calhoun flied out in the second inning, 0 for 1. That one just a little bit wide. Now Gonzalez, his first 2 starts, and we mentioned those earlier, at Atlanta, then against Seattle. 5 1/3 total innings in the 2 starts. 11 runs on 11 hits, and 4 of those 11 hits were home runs. Today's done a good job. Now he's given up some free base runners with 3 walks and a hit batter, but has yet to give up a hit. Now, while this is as deep as he has gone in a start in a Rangers uniform, he's not likely to go the distance in this one, at least not with 63 pitches at this point in the game, unless things really start going well for him and he starts getting outs on 1 pitch.
He's done a really nice job, you mentioned, outside of those walks and the hit batter. There's the 1 strikeout here so far today, but it's gotten some pretty weak contact. There was a couple of balls that were hit hard, but right at guys. So for Miguel Gonzalez, he is, that kind of pitcher. He comes into today with a strikeout per 9 rate of under 6. The league average is over 8 right now, so 5.7 strikeouts per 9 innings. So his game is contact. Now, he's not a big ground ball pitcher either. He's a fly ball pitcher that relies on those weak fly balls. Handful of strikeouts throughout the game, but that's kind of his game plan, and so far he's throwing the ball well.
Bouncer right side. Odor comes in, takes it on a little short hop, and the throw to first in time. Boy, that was a dicey play on both ends there for a moment.
Yeah, this is a tough play for Rougned Odor. Whenever you're playing deep like this, the way that he is, you're going to get a different kind of hop potentially, and that's exactly what happened here, right? If he's playing a standard second base, that ball's bouncing up right to him, but he's running in. He understands that Cole Calhoun is a quick runner, so he can't take a lot of time. So he picks it right at his feet as he's running and then has to make that throw. And a good job by Joey Gallo. Pick that throw out of the dirt. That's not an easy play.
Well, 2 away, and Andrelton Simmons, who grounded out in the second inning, up at the plate. And he swings at the first pitch, lofts this one out into left field. There's one of those outs on 1 pitch. Those help. And a 1-2-3, 4th inning for Miguel Gonzalez. We go to the 5th. yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. 3-0 Rangers on top as they go back to work here in the 5th inning. Our TXU Energy Power player to watch is Rougned Odor. Rookie 0 for 1 in this one today. How about this? Just another day at work for Odor. One of 5 guys who played in every game this season.
He's been a gamer. We've seen that from Rougned Odor. Even though he's had little things here and there, he has played through it all. And this is a guy, so many guys on this Ranger team that are difficult to get out of the lineup. I think Adrian Beltre really kind of sets the tone here. Guys follow his lead. And we know that Adrian never wants to be out of the lineup. And I think it's been a really good influence on a guy like Rougned Odor.
The other guys who have done it this year, Joey Votto. Royals have 2 guys, Alcides Escobar and Eric Hosmer, both played in every game. And Freddie Galvis with the Phillies has appeared in every Phillies game this year. Odor takes one of the dirt for a ball. Rugi batting 8th this afternoon, and then will give way to Drew Robinson in the 9th spot. 5th inning, Rangers with 3 runs on 2 hits.
You mentioned Joey Gallo. What a year he's having this year. One of the better ones of his career, being that MVP conversation. The Reds are so bad, though, it's probably going to hurt him a little bit.
Richards puts this one over the plate, and Odor hammers it foul. Man, got a glove up on that, but whiffed. Rugi with 29 home runs and 70 driven in. He's never had a lot of success against Garrett Richards, though. 2 for 23 against him coming in, and Richards got him to roll over on a ball his first time up. Chops this one off the plate, but foul. Stays 1-2.
Yeah, I wonder if it's that slider for Rougned Odor that he probably struggles with. It's a great fastball, of course, that Garrett Richards has, but the depth of the slider is one that plays against both lefties and righties.
One-two pitch. Fights it off.
Good job. Just to give you an idea, that slider for Garrett Richards over the course of his career, he's thrown nearly 1,400 sliders to lefties, and they're hitting just 171 against that pitch with 4 home runs. So as we talk about Rougned Odor struggling against Garrett Richards, you could see why when he's got that good slider. There it is right there below the zone.
Well, he gets Odor swinging and 1 away here in the 5th inning. Well, time for the big story. Yeah, and it is official. The Astros today clinched the West Division. They beat Seattle. And for the Astros, their first division title since 2001. That's one of those kind of sneaks up on you a little bit. Of course, they had a good run in 04 and went to the World Series in 05 as wild card entrance. Their last division title 16 years ago. And there's a strike to Drew Robinson.
I think they're a very interesting story watching the Astros and where they are right now. The full rebuild. I remember when they went all the way in. Okay, we've never really seen it to this degree before. They're either going to completely blow up or they're going to revolutionize how teams rebuild. And I think it's probably more of the latter as far as teams now when they go in the rebuild. They don't necessarily even go halfway in. They're not worried about having a couple of veterans, maybe some names, just to make sure that the team stays relevant. They went all the way in. It was ugly for a while, and now they get their first division title with this new group and this new theory. But at the same time, they slid to some old school ways, I think, to kind of make it happen.
Right, they eventually had to circle back, right?
Yeah, bring in veterans this year. trade a prospect to get your hands on Justin Verlander. So while there's definitely something to be said for what they did and the full rebuild and everything else that happened during those years, there's still something to be said for the way that rosters have always been built. That was a big missing factor for them last year, and it was addressed by bringing in guys like Carlos Beltran, Brian McCann, Josh Reddick.
Now another strikeout for Garrett Richards. And there are 2 away. He'll go back to the top of the order and see Delano DeShields for a 3rd time. Hey, don't miss the last post-game fireworks show of the season. It's going to be Friday, September 29th. The A's in town. And then stay after the game for a fireworks show set to the players' walk-up music. Now, fans can get a 20% discount on upper reserve tickets for this Friday home game. So just go to TexasRangers.com/specials and purchase your tickets for Fireworks Friday. First pitch to DeShields, right in there for a strike.
Those back-to-back sliders that Garrett Richards used to strike out the lefties in Rougned Odor and Drew Robinson. It's pretty incredible to think that righties haven't had a lot of success against that slider, 208 over the course of his career, but better against lefties than it has been against righties. You usually would expect that to be the opposite.
He's filling up the strike zone today. Damn, that's a pretty aggressive ratio. He's also getting close to a season high in pitches thrown. 1-2 the count to DeShields. And so it'll be an interesting decision for his manager, Mike Scioscia. How long does he want to run him out there? 3-0, Rangers leading. And we certainly know Mike Scioscia more than comfortable with using his bullpen. And he's unapologetic too with regard to roles in the bullpen. He'll use guys whenever he feels like they're best utilized. 2-2. And we've seen some activity out there as Blake Wood has been throwing for a bit. And this may indeed be then the end of the afternoon for Richards should he get through this 5th inning. Here's 2-2. Swung on and missed. He strikes out the side in order in the 5th inning. I don't know if I'm Scioscia, that might be a tough decision to make. Halfway to the house this afternoon, Rangers lead 3-0.
Are leading the Angels by a score of 3-0. Hey, take advantage of Ozarka Online Ticket Thursday on September 28th when the Rangers will take on the Oakland A's. Tickets for all Thursday home games are half price in Upper Reserved, Upper Box, and Lexus Club Terrace. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials and use coupon code Ozarka to redeem this offer.
I agree. Good points, CJ.
Thank you.
Here we go. As the first pitch fouled away by Luis Valbuena.
All right, so I got some foul ball fever right now. We got one in the booth yesterday. I completely bailed out, wanted nothing to do with it. Now, confidence is kind of high, and I've been imagining myself catching a foul ball in our booth today. I'm going to go for it if it comes our way.
Wow, that's great.
As opposed to leaving you hanging the way I did yesterday.
1-1 to Valbuena.
The mental preparation is really important. We've talked about that with pitchers. Visualize the pitch before you throw it. I imagine myself reaching out in front of you. Double-handed catch, saving the day. While you're playing Candy Crush on your phone.
I'm trying to think if I would trust you or not.
Don't. You shouldn't.
Well, like a lot of things, I think it's all about reps. And yesterday, you got your first taste of the action. And so now, you got a little better sense for what to expect. And I think you'll be ready. I've seen you do a lot of athletic things today. Breakfast, as an example. Never seen anybody eat that much bacon. Seems somewhat athletic.
Starts out that way, doesn't finish that way.
Three and 1 to Valbuena. And he will take ball 4 and a nifty bat flip to go with it. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's wake up Rick Renner. Yeah, I think that's, I don't know, where do you come down on that one?
The last couple of starts, I think, have probably put him over the top. We still got to get through the rest of the season. It looked like it was Chris Sale's award to lose. And he'd been in command all season long. Corey Kluber has come on so strong. Now, I wonder a little bit, will they try to back him off, be a little bit careful, right? They're going to the postseason. Corey Kluber was unbelievable for them last year, took on the brunt of the work. He went on short days rest, 3 days rest, a couple of times for him. So I wonder about the innings. And I say that because Chris Sale has the lead there.
Line drive into left field. And there's the first Angels hit today. C.J. Cron with a single to left. And the Angels have 2 base runners to start the 5th inning.
Mentioned C.J. Cron, the up and down for him this year, but the great second half that he's having, and he gets a breaking ball that hangs in the middle of the plate. Miguel Gonzalez was trying to go down and away, and throwing this one in the middle of the plate, and the red-hot C.J. Cron lines it into left field. And now for Jeff Bannister, got to be a little bit concerned here as the Rangers are holding on to this 3-0 lead, but we know Miguel Gonzalez has struggled a little bit. He's been pretty good today in his 3rd start with the Rangers.
Well, now it does bring the potential tying run to the plate for the remainder of this inning, barring let's say a double play. And the infield is set up in anticipation of a ground ball and a chance to turn 2. Martin Maldonado, the catcher, 0 for 1 today, and takes strike 1 from Gonzalez. So we were talking about the Cy Young debate. Here you go. You can look at the numbers yourself, make your own determination. Kluber with the advantage in wins and earned run average. But strikeouts, they are the sexy thing right now. And Chris Sale, a pretty commanding lead in that regard. Although Kluber, I mean, that's an impressive 252 Ks that he has.
You know, we have such a tendency to get caught up in those round numbers. To think about Chris Sale getting to 300 strikeouts, it looks like it's a reality for him. I think that is certainly an interesting number to look at. Now, I don't believe just because you hit some kind of milestone that we haven't seen maybe in a while. Clayton Kershaw had 301 strikeouts in 2015. We hadn't seen a 300 strikeout pitcher in a while before that. And so there is something to be said. I think voters sometimes are impressed by a big number. Let's see if Chris Sale gets to 300.
Yeah, strikeout of Maldonado. Second time today that Gonzalez has done that. One away here in the 5th inning.
A good bounce back here by Miguel Gonzalez after the walk and then the single. 2 quick base runners here, but good location going below the zone. That slider. See Maldonado swinging right over the top of it.
Well, one away. Gardewine kicking the dirt around out there, so he might be preparing to come in here shortly. There's a relatively high pitch count for Gonzalez for being in the 5th inning. So Gonzalez had a Cowart last time. Got to 2 strikes before hitting him on the foot. You see, looking at that, just one inning, the 3rd inning, really the one that kind of gummed things up a little bit for Gonzalez. Line drive, base hit into center field. Balbuena to third base. They'll stop him. Kind of lumbering into third, and DeShields got to that ball quickly, so they are loaded up. And Mike Trout coming to the plate.
We had talked about the bottom of the order in this series and what they did in the opener. A very nice job getting on base. Well, we're seeing it again here now today. Cowart lines that ball up the middle with both base hits now coming from the 7 and the 9 hole hitters. Also a couple of walks here in the bottom half of the order for the Angels today. So this guy's getting on base, and whenever you can get that kind of production, flip your order, and you got Mike Trout as a leadoff hitter. Now essentially hitting like a middle of the order hitter because he's got the bases loaded with 1 out.
Well, in fact, he led off the game with a walk. When he came up the second time, he had 2 men on, and now he comes up in his 3rd at bat and has the bases loaded. So that has worked out well for Mike Scioscia. You see 4 grand slams in his career and a .400 average with the bases loaded. 3-0 Rangers have led the entire way. But a little bit of trouble here for Miguel Gonzalez. Trout 0 for 1 with a walk. Oh, that one just missed, shaving off a corner. Talked about it earlier, how Albert Pujols is a guy who Gonzalez has handled well. Well, Trout, another guy. Trout now 3 for 22 in his career against Gonzalez, but he does have 3 home runs. Fouls this one back. 1-1 the count.
Take a look at this pitch here from Miguel Gonzalez, and Mike Trout would like another shot at that one as it stayed up in the zone.
Balbuena 3rd, Crone 2nd, Cowart at 1st.
It looked like that last pitch might have been the split finger. Didn't really have the depth, right? That was an issue that we were talking about with Miguel Gonzalez, trying to get that split finger back. It's been a good pitch for him in the past, but hasn't been yet here with the Rangers.
1-1. Swung on, and that one lifted out to center field. DeShields goes back, and he'll have room. Tagging at 3rd, Balbuena. He'll score. And it's a 3-1 ball game on the deep sacrifice fly by Mike Trout.
Mike Trout got a fastball to handle up in the zone. I mentioned Miguel Gonzalez is much more of a fly ball pitcher than he is a ground ball pitcher. Robinson Chirinos wanted that in a little bit more. But that's the one area, if you're going to miss on Mike Trout, missing up, even though he hit that ball pretty hard, you got a better chance of getting him out top half of the strike zone than you do in the bottom half. Miguel Gonzalez still has some work to do here with Justin Upton and runners at second and third.
Yeah, it's a big out, and you're happy, I think, to exchange that out for the run in that spot. But you're right. It doesn't get a whole lot easier here with Justin Upton, especially the way he's been swinging it lately. And Gonzalez misses off the plate with ball one. Today, Upton is flying out to left field. He has also walked, but hit 2 home runs yesterday, and has been a big addition for this team since the end of August. Acquired on the last day of August. And he takes one just off the outside corner.
Interesting to see that call. Remember the at-bat earlier for Justin Upton in his last one. Miguel Gonzalez threw a very similar fastball that was called to strike. Upton didn't like it. Kind of wonder if he bought himself a ball there. Now, another part of this, if you're Miguel Gonzalez, you do have an open base. Yes, Albert Pujols is a really good RBI man, but if I had to pick which one of these guys I want to face right now, I think I'd take Albert Pujols.
Ooh, that's a
tough. It's not an easy
tough one. Yeah,
not an easy decision by any means.
You know what? I guess I would prefer to go after Upton just because the strikeout is so much more in play with him. 160 of those this year, but at 3-0, I might be tempted just to go ahead and waggle the 4 fingers.
I'm surprised they haven't put him on here, to be honest with you.
We'll see if he has a green light. Second and third, and he takes strike one. Now, we keep thinking of it from the standpoint of Miguel Gonzalez, but if you're Upton, 3-1, you just took a strike. I don't know. You take another,
No.
or are you looking to drive a ball?
No way. You got a chance to tie this game up. Tying run on second base, you see something you like, you're going after it.
3-1. And there's ball 4, so ultimately he does get the walk. And he hits Pujols to the plate. Referenced it twice already today. Once directly, once in a roundabout way, but Miguel Gonzalez has handled Pujols. 0 for 2 today. Making Pujols now 3 for 21 in his career against Gonzalez.
It's never fun facing Albert Pujols with runners in scoring position, but I think based on those numbers, based on Justin Upton and how hot he has been, it's the right play. Nothing is automatic in this game. You still got to go out and you got to get a really good right-handed hitter out in Albert Pujols. But I like this play better here for Miguel Gonzalez.
Runners everywhere in a 2-run game. Pujols is lined out to third, grounded out to short. And he hits this one out to the alley in right field. Long run for Chu. Will he get there? He does! And Chu with a basket-style catch right in front of the fence.
Woo. Wow. That is incredible. I thought for sure that ball was down for extra base hits, but watch Chu, basket-style catch. Smooth as could be, he had it the whole time.
Slam inning brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Our jackpot, $200 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Brittany Avery from Denison will be our contestant this afternoon. Ranger hits a home run. Brittany wins $200. If it's a grand slam, she'll win an additional $25 grand. So good luck, Brittany. Rangers sending the 2, 3, and 4 this inning, and they'll be doing it against a new Angels pitcher.
Well, Blake Wood will come in now, and you see the time that he spent both with the Cincinnati Reds and now here with the Angels. The overall numbers not really great there for Blake Wood. That high ERA, 5.77 high whip, but he does have 75 strikeouts in his 65 games.
So Chu made the great defensive play a moment ago to end the bottom of the 5th inning, and here he is leading off in the 6th. And he is happy to see Garrett Richards done for the day. Richards struck him out twice.
Wood is a guy, even though he had that high ERA, he will generate swings and misses, a better than 10 strikeout per 9 rate for him this year, and he does it with a hard fastball that sits 96 miles an hour. Slider and a split finger.
Strike in there, evens it up at 1-1. So Richards, he pitched pretty well. Gave a big home run to Joey Gallo, and Chu sends this one foul. 1-2 the count. The thing about Garrett Richards was he might not have been his sharpest. Struck out the side in order last inning to complete his afternoon. So it did look like he was getting better as the day wore on, and he retired the final 12 batters he faced. Breaking ball from Wood, and that's a called third strike to Chu. All right, our Kubota power stats regarding not Blake Wood, but this entire bullpen for the Angels. How about 34 wins this year for Angels relievers, most in Major League Baseball?
I think that speaks to a couple different things. First of all, there's some good arms down there in that bullpen. There's a lot of arms down there right now. But I think it speaks to some struggles with the starting rotation. So there's been opportunities for them to come back in games. Pretty good offense here with the Angels, and that bullpen holding leads. And so more often than not, those wins that you see come out of the bullpen are comeback wins. Of course, you got your tie games as well late. They've done a nice job. It's a good note for the bullpen. Obviously, it's not completely about wins when we evaluate pitchers, but I think it does say a lot about what their offense has done late in games and how their bullpen has done a good job of keeping teams down late.
Andrews watches a ball. 1-1 the count. Elvis reached on an error in the first inning, grounded out in the third. And hits this ball on the ground, third base, but just foul. So 1-2 the count. It's a 2-run lead for the Rangers. Angels, while we've been playing here this afternoon, officially eliminated from the division race. Rangers had previously been eliminated from the American League West race. But the Astros with a win earlier today, 7-1 the final score. They have now clinched the American League West, and now the Astros will start concerning themselves with their overall record and what it will mean for them in the postseason in the division series. This one is outside, 2-2. Rangers and Angels both battling for their very postseason lives right now.
That Minnesota offense is doing it again. 13 runs they scored today.
Andrews sends this one down the right field line, but foul.
Talk about that wild card and what's going on. They are really a surprise team. I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Nothing really sticks out. Byron Buxton, though, has been really good. He had 3 more hits today. He's really gotten it turned around. Mauer hit a grand slam. His power pretty much disappeared over the last few years, but they're playing well at the right time are the Minnesota Twins.
Andrews finds this over second. That's a base hit. Out there to the power alley and right. Take an aggressive turn, but he'll have to settle with the 1-out single.
It's good at bat here for Elvis Andrus, and obviously a great season for him. But watch this pitch, trying to go away. Came back over the middle a little bit, but it's still outer third. But watch how quiet the swing is. Short to the ball. When you're dealing with high velocity, you cannot afford to take a big swing. And Elvis Andrus, with the way that he has swung the bat this year, not necessarily the kind of swing you feel like you can beat with high velocity. Short to the ball, compact, very still.
So he's on for Beltre. Beltre delivered the 2-run double in the first inning. And take strike 1 from Blake Wood. Beltre got that double off Garrett Richards. Very good starter for this Angels team. And he and Richards, they had a little bit of history. This was a couple years ago now. That one in the dirt. A couple years ago, when Garrett Richards was healthy and he was starting the season strong with the Angels, he broke 3 Beltre bats in a game. He shot him off 3 times. So Beltre, after the game, a little upset, but always in good humor, sent an invoice over to the other clubhouse to Garrett Richards. Said, "You owe me $300, man. Broke 3 of my bats." 1-1.
It's always fun as a pitcher when you do that. Listen, you want to get guys out. That's priority number 1. But it feels good when you know that basically you broke their equipment and they have to go get new equipment.
One out and a man on here in the 6th inning. Richards was cool with it. In fact, he sent Beltre a bat. You just use one of mine.
Now, it would have been really fun. She sent him a Mike Trout bat over and said, "Listen, you're going to use a bat.
Oh.
Here's one of these."
Certain lines you may not want to cross. Foul back. 2-2 on Beltre, who continues to amaze. And of all the amazing things he has done this year, including getting over the 3,000 hit plateau, this right now, playing on one leg basically, while his team still battles for becomes an increasingly challenging spot to get into the wild card. Says everything you need to know about Adrian Beltre.
He's really battling through this. You can see it. Really, I mean, go back all the way to spring training. Dealing with the calf, and Adrian Beltre, one of the guys who mentioned it earlier, setting that example of really playing through some pain, which I think you see less and less of now. More in the game, guys are a little bit more aware, a little bit more careful, and you need to be. You don't want to be dumb necessarily and be out there playing when you're hurt, but there is something to be said for also understanding you're not going to be 100%. You see that reaction right there from Adrian Beltre. Not quite feeling as good as he'd like to, but he's still out there taking his at-bats.
Lines this one out to right field. That's a base hit. Andrus heads to third, and Adrian Beltre with a 2-hit afternoon. Simply remarkable. For more on what he has been doing, we'll check in again with Emily.
Yeah, I asked him last night after the game if he was concerned that he was going to do further damage to that hamstring, and he said, I'm not concerned. There's nothing I can do about it if it happens. And he said, I'd much rather, if I tear it, I'd much rather tear it trying to help this team win than just sit here on the bench and watch these guys, play.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you worry about it. I think you can't help but worry about it. I've got to believe that Jeff Bannister worries about it. I've got to believe that the medical staff worries about it a little bit. They do everything they can to prepare him, put him in the best spot, keep him loose, make sure that hamstring doesn't tighten up. Like I said, he's just a difficult guy to get out of the lineup. You're going to have to fight him if you want to get him out of there while this team is still in contention.
He's over at first base. Andrus now at third. Now the Rangers' best RBI man, Nomar Mazara, steps in. He's 0 for 2 today, but 94 RBIs for Nomar. 257 batting average coming into play today, and a chance to add to this Rangers lead. And Wood delivers low, ball 1. Mazara also looking for that, talking about round numbers earlier, his 20th home run of the year. 2 balls and no strikes. First look at Blake Wood today. Garrett Richards, the man who got Mazara the first 2 times up. Here's a pitch, and a swing and a miss. You talk about doing it against right-handed pitching. How about this, most RBIs in the American League against righties. Mazara 4th, or rather tied for 3rd. Nelson Cruz and Chris Davis, the only 2 in the league with more. And yeah, Albert Pujols also on that list.
Nomar's had a really good season. Some positive things happening. We forget, I think, sometimes how young he is. Him and both Rugen Odor, Joey Gallo in there. Like, we've seen really good improvement. Certainly good things that are happening. But then you got to put their ages in perspective as well and say they're getting some great experience at such a young age and showing some great signs. Start thinking about what these guys will be doing in their age 24, 25, 26 seasons when they really should be hitting their stride. There's a lot to be optimistic about.
Andrews and Beltre both with hits this inning off Blake Wood. Wood struck out Shin-Soo Choo, got him looking to start the inning. And it's a full count now on Mazara. Robinson Chirinos waits on deck.
It's got to be in the back of Nomar's mind right there. He got a 3-1 slider, knowing that there's a good fastball in the arm. There's another slider there. Say in the arm of Wood. It's kind of similar stuff to what we saw from Garrett Richards. 96-mile-an-hour fastball, 90-mile-an-hour slider. Very similar look.
A little conversation about what to do here with Mazara. That last one fouled off of his foot or his leg. And he has been banged up lately. The left quad tightened up on him in Atlanta. And he continues to play through it.
Oh my, you see the emergency swing right there as that ball hung up. Trying to fight it off. Just a battle here for Nomar Mazara.
Swing and a miss, and he strikes out for the second out of the 6th inning.
It was all sliders the rest of the way in the back end of this at-bat for Blake Wood against Nomar Mazara. He hung one before that, and then this one, he goes down below the zone. And we were talking about how Nomar's been so good in RBI situations against righties, and one on third base right there thinking about trying to find a way to get that run in. The 3 sliders ultimately got Nomar.
Well, Robinson has not reached yet. He has in his last 29 consecutive games, and I'd love to get on here. Either A, give Gallo a chance to add to the lead, or maybe add to it himself on his way to first base. He takes ball 1. Chirinos, it's much more than simply a good on-base streak for him. He's been hitting the ball well. Averaged just a smidge under 270 coming into play today. It's this one in the air, foul over to the right side, out of play. Chirinos now in 32 games. He's hitting .366. 5 homers, 8 doubles, 21 walks. Really just amazing the work that he has been able to do offensively. And he's been catching all the time, too. Think about Emily's report yesterday, talking about Joey Gallo. You know, how you feeling at this point of the season, right? You know, you're maybe a little tired, etc. You know, Gallo's comments was, "Have you ever been jumped?" That's a little bit what it feels like. Now, Gallo, I mean, he plays out on the field every day, but Chirinos is a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, his response might be more like, "Have you ever been jumped by like 5 guys?" Because that job a lot harder and a lot more damaging on a daily basis. All the foul tips and collisions, etc.
Interesting here. You got a meeting in a 1-2 count. Pitch a slider away that kind of borderline. Robinson Chirinos didn't like that call. And it wasn't just a meeting with Maldonado. That was a full infield meeting.
And an urgent one. Like everybody ran out there like immediately.
I think everybody had an idea what they wanted to throw there, and one chipped in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 1-2.
Runners on the corners. And a swing and a miss. Well, whatever it was, they made the right call. Wood strikes out the side in the 6th, and the Rangers leave a pair. We've played 5.5 this afternoon. Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. Oh, a beautiful Southern California day. Can't imagine a better place to be than right here at the ballpark, although those people look like they're having a good time too. Bottom of the 6th inning. Cole Calhoun, Hamilton Simmons, and Luis Valbuena for the Angels as the Rangers go to the pin. Yohander Mendez coming on.
And here is the forward pitch arsenal for Mendez. Good fastball for the left-hander, averages 93 miles an hour. You'll see the slider and the changeup as well, both averaging 83 so far here in his young career. But a nice opportunity for him. A 2-run lead up against a pretty good lineup here and a good hitter to start off this 6th inning in Cole Calhoun.
So a good job today for Miguel Gonzalez. Well, he really had to work his way through the 5 innings, but did so, allowing just 1 run and 2 hits.
How long ago does that Chew catch feel like? Well, it was a while ago.
I remember it.
It's last
One where he
inning
was
for them.
running.
A long inning.
Half inning.
I mean, for 3 strikeouts and 2 hits. Seems like it was a while ago.
It was 3 runs, 4 hits, and an error today for the Rangers. They've left 3. Angels 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error. They have stranded 5, and Mendez finds a corner. It's 0-2. Calhoun is flied out to left, and he is grounded out to second base.
This will be more than just a 1-batter appearance for Mendez, potentially.
Fly ball left field. Mazara's there. 1 away. All right, let's take a look at the progressive upcoming schedule. It's a getaway day today for the Rangers and an off day tomorrow. But then Tuesday night through Thursday evening, 3 games against the Mariners. That'll give way to a weekend series in Oakland and put a cap on the road schedule in 2017 for Texas. It's back home to face the Astros in the battle for the Silver Boot. And the only thing left that's not on that schedule will be the final series against Oakland back home at Globe Life Park. Slow bouncer, third base side foul. 0-1 on Simmons.
This worked out really nicely for Jeff Bannister to give Mendez this opportunity. You want to see him in spots like this, see how he reacts in close games. And of course, these games still matter very much so for both teams. The fact that he got the lefty Calhoun to start off the inning, and then you get Andrelton Simmons, was hitting only .240 against lefties. Actually been much better against righties this year, .295 batting average against. And then you got the lefty Valbuena, who has really struggled against lefties, who's due on deck. So a nice opportunity here for Mendez.
Ground ball shortstop. Andrews right there. Easy play to first, 2 away. Oh, Yolanda Mendez, nicely done. 2 quick outs here in the 6th. Brings up Luis Valbuena.
We go through our numbers all the time, and you know, sometimes I look back and I got to do a double take. Like, is that right? Like, I wrote it down before the game. Like, that doesn't seem like it could be right. Well, Valbuena's hitting just 118 against lefties this year. He's only hitting 198 overall. Right, but just the surprise, I was like, what, is it that low? That's why, again, it's worked out really well. Good matchups here for Mendez.
Got one in there for a strike. Valbuena has popped up and walked. He has scored the only run for the Angels today. A game out of the second wild card in the American League. Angels just trying to keep pace with the Minnesota Twins. Bouncer second base, but the shortstop Andrews is there, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Yoander Mendez. And we move it along to the 7th inning this afternoon.
of 3-1 in the finale of this 3-game series as we welcome you back to the Big A here in Anaheim. And our State Farm winning combination is the guy headed up to the plate right now, Joey Gallo. His winning combination is his comfort level this season on and off the field. It's been fun to watch Joey kind of grow into his style of play and be comfortable with it, and he's talked about that, about not putting too much pressure on himself to change the way he plays, but to embrace his strengths and try to adjust within those stretches of good play. He's been able to make those adjustments so far this season and maintain, big league status the entire year. He said it's been huge for him, and you can see the comfort level come in the clubhouse as well. He's kind of found his way and found his voice, which is huge for this team, on and off the field, guys.
That is, and it has really been one of the great stories of the summer for this team. We hope it continues these final 2 weeks. In fact, 2 weeks from today will be the last game of the regular season. And when you're Joey Gallo, you just want to push through, finish strong. He's got 38 home runs now this year. This was his 38th, came in the second inning.
And this was maybe the funnest one of the year. We've seen some fun ones. When he went over the Hyundai Club at Globe Life Park, that was pretty cool. This might have been cooler because it just had such a strange look as he played it down the left side of the fairway and took a nice right bounce and just trickled in right where you want to be. Good look at the pin. That was really fun to watch.
Funnest, right?
What'd I say?
That's what you said.
Funnest?
Yeah.
Is that a word?
It's the funnest one. I think, you know what?
It's the most fun. It was the funnest.
Could be the funnest. I mean, it was funner than other ones.
I can't wait till the off day tomorrow. Don't call me.
Gallo waiting on a 2-2. And up and away. It's a full count. Boy, that did not miss by a whole lot.
Take a look at what Jose Alvarez has done this season. He's been a useful left-hander for Mike Scioscia in that bullpen. So one thing here, we talk about the Angels so much. Left fielders and left-handed relievers have always been a big need here.
Well, Alvarez gets his man, strikes out Gallo to start the 7th inning, and the last 7 Rangers outs have all been strikeouts. Last time the Rangers grounded out or flied out, that was in the 4th inning. Anyway, here's Rougned Odor. Rougie 0 for 2. I was talking to a scout today at breakfast, lunch, whatever I don't know, whatever it would be up there, whatever time we were.
Brunch.
What time is it now? I don't even know what time we are now, but in any case, he said the one thing when he watches the Rangers, and he watches the Rangers a decent amount, this one pulled foul. Says he sees, the swing and the miss. Says, of course, it's there. He says it's there with a lot of teams. So, but with the Rangers, it seems to be contagious at times. And he expressed a lot of surprise at the way this last week has gone. The Rangers have dropped 7 of their last 8 games. Now lead today in an important game, trying to get out of Anaheim with a victory. But it was his feeling. He says, once that starts going, this team fell behind a couple of times in the last week. He said, I just saw a lot of this, and it seems like each guy would pass it on to the next one. As Odor strikes out swinging.
Well, I think it's comes with the territory based on the way that this roster is built. Guys swing hard, a lot of swing and miss. In that lineup, we have seen the Rangers go through streaks, and you run into good strikeout pitching, and that's sometimes what you're going to get is where they go on these kind of runs where it does seem like everyone is doing the same thing, but the upside with the big swings is the great power.
Yes, and this team has scored a lot of runs. Today leading 3-1 as Mike Scioscia goes further into his bullpen. lead, still working here in the top of the 7th inning. MLB.com at bat, your #1 mobile app for live Rangers baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. You can get Rangers home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, StatCast news, a whole lot of stuff. Download MLB.com at bat today. Here's Jesse Chavez.
We saw Jesse in the first game of this series, and here he is again now, a guy that has been in the rotation for them. You see the win-loss record for Chavez, 7-10, so a little bit of both. Has been a swingman throughout his career, but now in the bullpen here for Mike Sosa.
Well, Middlebrooks announces the pinch hitter forcing the move. Drives this one to center, and Trout back to the wall. He makes the catch. Wow. Well, a charge put into that one by Middlebrooks, but the inning is done. They'll stand and stretch. And of course, we always pause on the weekends for God Bless America.
Prior to singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game, please join Aaron Metz in singing God Bless America.
AT&T high-speed replay this afternoon, and it's going to be started off here with a Mike Trout sacrifice fly. Good job by Delano Shields to get that ball in. But then the big play here is Miguel Gonzalez does a nice job of getting out of this inning. It could have been a lot worse. Chu coming up big. That catch, it looked like off the bat that was going to be extra bases. What a difference that made. Big catch in a big spot there for Chu. Smiles all around, and so that is our AT&T high-speed replay.
Will Middlebrooks stays in the game. He's now in the hot corner. And Keone Kela To the bottom of the order in this 7th inning. Under Mendez, nice job in relief. 2-0.
Let's take a look at the forward pitch arsenal here for Keone Kela. You know he's got a good fastball. It averages 96 miles an hour. But the curveball has been the difference maker for him this year. Such a difficult pitch. Great break that it has to it. Great depth to it. Sometimes it'll get a little bit small on him. Throws it a little bit harder. But he has the combination of that 97 mile an hour fastball right there with the good curveball. That's when you really see the best of Kela. The 130 batting average against the breaking ball this year.
Big swing and a miss makes it 2-2.
Take that back. That 130 is over the course of his career. This year, it's been even better. Just an 0.96 batting average on that curveball.
Two-run Rangers lead. And this one fouled back our way. It just got above us.
I had it, buddy. Had you the whole way. But as that ball was traveling, I was like, oh, yeah, remember when you made fun of your grammar? And then I decided I wasn't going to
Yeah, I was going to say you didn't move.
No, because it would have been the funnest thing for me to watch you get hit with that ball.
All right, okay. All right. Kela puts it on the outside corner. Strike 3 called, and Crone down looking. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Once again, we check in with Rick Renner. All right, yeah, thanks, Rick. Ben Revere, pinch hitting now from our team Maldonado. Bottom of the 7th inning in a 2-run game, and Mike Scioscia realizing it, every out becoming quite precious for his team. Kela with a good heat, misses with ball 1. This one hit on the ground, 1 hop, and right there for it is Andrews. 2 away as Revere turned back.
A good play there by Elvis. This ball was hit pretty hard from Ben Revere coming off the bench. He had a good view of it right here, and a hard 1 hopper. Good hands there by Elvis Andrews. Makes it look easy. You know, it's interesting too, thinking about a guy like Kela with the power stuff that he has. And Mike Scioscia decides to go with the left-handed pitch hitter. It's almost kind of like picking your poison with Kela. 174 batting average against left-handed batters this year. That's excellent. 122 against righties. So he's really done a very nice job limiting the base hits. The batting average extremely low. Overall 142.
Well, 2 away. Coward takes strike 1, 98 miles per hour with the fastball. Swing and a miss, so just like that, 0-2. We got a strikeout on the first man he faced, C.J. Crone. Revere grounded out quickly to short, and now Kela 1 pitch away from making this a very tidy 7th inning. Under Mendez was great in the 6th. Out away, stays 0-2. Miguel Gonzalez gave up a run on 2 hits in his 5 innings of work. Bullpen has been real strong behind him so far today. Kela's 0-2. Up and away.
He tried to elevate the fastball the previous 0-2 pitch, and that one didn't get quite as high as he wanted it. So that time he goes a little bit higher, and maybe we'll see potentially the breaking ball. He's already thrown 1 in this at bat. So often with Keone Kela, it's that fastball curveball combination. We see the breaking ball after the high fastball. There it is.
Two outs here. Another count 2-2. On count, switch hitters reach both times he's been up, but he strikes out swinging here. Keller blows it right past him. It's a 1-2-3 for the Rangers right-hander, and we go to the 8th. Delano DeShields will start things off. Top of the order coming. Sinchu Chu will follow, and Elvis Andrus batting third. And here we are in the 8th inning. And by the way, just one Saturday home game remaining in the regular season. You want to be there when the Oakland A's take on the Rangers Saturday night, September 30th, a 7:05 first pitch. You can get your tickets for Saturday, September 30th at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Juan Gratterall, new catcher. We'll have it more than likely the rest of the way. Jesse Chavez out for more work here in the 8th inning. Pumps one right in there for a strike to Delano DeShields.
We didn't get to talk too much about that at bat from Will Middlebrooks. Did a nice job. You come in those pinch hit situations looking for something early. He really drove that ball. Not quite far enough. Mike Trout, we've seen him so many times up against that ball. He looks so comfortable here in Angel Stadium.
1-2 the count on DeShields. Delano walked earlier. Yeah, there's the foundation for this Angels franchise. I mean, they know that he is the guy around whom they build everything.
3 years to go, though, left on that contract. It's going to get here before you know it. Kind of wonder what's going to happen with Mike Trout. He already got a 9-figure deal, up over $100 million. That ends in 3 years. 2020 season. Will he remain an Angel for life, or will he ride it out? Very interesting to watch. The dollars that he will be able to command.
There's a walk to DeShields to start this 8th inning. Now, where do you come down with Trout for potential MVP this year in the American League?
It's the at-bats, the plate appearances are really kind of close. That's the one thing that maybe would get in the way. And Jose Altuve is just having a monster season. And so that's what makes it really difficult, I think, to judge. No pun intended. Aaron Judge, I think, is probably third or fourth. Jose Ramirez really good this year. It probably comes down, though, to those two because Mike Trout is just having a monster season. You know, but the issue is the time that he has missed. What's he got, 100 games played now, 101? Would you say he missed
just over 100 now.
What did he miss, 59 games? Is that what the number was? Whatever it was. No, it could have been that many. Whatever it was.
No, it was like 39 games.
Yes, he missed a significant amount of time. And it's one of those deals for me where you miss time, it's okay. You can still be an MVP unless somebody has really been really, really good and maybe has been the MVP favorite the whole year, and a guy like Jose Altuve. So that's the issue that I think he runs into. I think the at-bats ultimately cut into it for him unless he just does something incredible over these final 2 weeks.
I was going to say, if they make a mad push and he is the driving force of that, would that change your opinion? Because I get it. You know, the Astros have had a big year. They win the division. First time they've won a division title since 2001.
Yeah, you know me. The team stuff is a non-issue for me. I'm just looking at the players and saying who are the best players in the league. And for me, Mike Trout is right there. But Jose Altuve is having a really, really nice year. He's hitting .348, .409 on base. But Mike Trout's got a .450 on base percentage.
That's the thing. He's on all the time. He scores a lot of runs, drives in runs. He gives you great defense.
Yeah. Underrated defense a little bit, at least metrically. We talked about that a little bit last night.
How do you interpret when you hear MVP, most valuable player to his team, most valuable player in the game? Do you think of it as just the best overall dude?
So I'm a simpleton when it comes to this. Who's the best player in the game? That's it. I don't try to overvalue the V. You know, what's his value to his team? Come on, who's the best player? That's what it should be. Who is the best player in the league should be the MVP. I look at Joe. I mentioned Joey Votto in the National League. He's having a great year. It's not his fault that his team stinks, and I don't think he should be penalized for it. He can't pitch.
Ground ball, shortstop, and that one threw into center field. DeShields got a good jump, and he'll go to third. Why, you don't see that ever. The ball just went right underneath Andrelton Simmons' glove.
You're absolutely right, and you see it, and you automatically assume, because we've been spoiled by what we've seen from Andrelton Simmons from a defensive standpoint, that this was going to be a pretty quick and easy double play. That ball was smoked by Chu, and it'll go down as a base hit, and a great job by Delano DeShields to continue on to third base. But you're right. So many times we've seen hits get robbed. We've already seen it a couple of times in this series where off the bat, looks like it'll be a hit. No, Andrelton Simmons turns it into an out, but not that time.
Scored that one a base hit. Runners on the corners, and Mike Scioscia making his way to the mound. So that is likely it for Jesse Chavez. And Scioscia indeed will take the baseball. So Rangers got a little something brewing here in the 8th inning. Pitching today in a 2-run lead for the Rangers, and opportunity continuing to percolate in this 8th inning. New pitchers come on. Fernando Salas is the 4th reliever used.
And another reliever that has played on multiple teams this year, spent some time with the New York Mets earlier in the season, did Fernando Salas. A pretty good arm. The fastball, he's never been an overpowering guy. And you see the high ERA this year. Fastball for Salas will sit right around 90 miles an hour. He's got a slider and a changeup as well, but getting an opportunity here back with the Angels is Salas.
Okay, so Elvis having a pretty good day. He's been on twice, reached on an error, also a base hit. Infield is in. They're going to try and cut down DeShields at the plate on a ground ball. Look, this is a very good defensive team. We talked about this the other night. Now, it was not scored an error a moment ago. It was a base hit. It got under the glove of Andrelton Simmons, which in and of itself somewhat surprising as well. A team that certainly helps itself defensively.
Now, they do a nice job. Fielding percentage is not always the greatest way, right? Talks about errors. That's certainly still an important number, just to give you an idea as far as how often are they making the plays that they should be making. But I kind of like this. It's not perfect, but there's that defensive efficiency stat. I don't know if you're familiar with that one at all. Baseball Reference throws that one out there, and essentially, it's how often are you turning batted balls into outs, just batted balls, period. And the Angels have done that 70% of the time this year. They have a 700 defensive efficiency. That's 4th best in baseball. The league average is right around, used to be 687 this year. The Rangers 695, so they're above average when it comes to taking batted balls and turning them into outs.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's really hard to come up with defensive numbers that you can point to and say, yep, that number will tell you who's the best. The defense still has to be judged by the eyes. You have to watch a team, you have to watch players enough. We know who's fast, we know who's got great range, we know who's got great arms, right? We've seen it a bunch. That you can pick up on pretty quickly, but as far as the actual fielding ability over the course of a season, it's a little bit tricky to really rate these guys. At least in absolutes.
Yeah. Salas from the stretch. Runner goes from first, and there's a swing and a high pop up first base side. Long run Crone, but he does not have room down there. 2-2. We're in the 8th inning. Couple of men on here. The Angels trying to keep this one close. So Elvis and DJ Rayburn chatting. I'm not sure what they'd be chatting about. It's always been maybe my greatest fascination, CJ, is mound conversations, first baseman, and the conversations they're having with base runners, and for sure all the nonsense that goes on around the plate. Umpires, catchers, love to know what those conversations are all about.
90%, not a lot, nothing really significant. Once in a while, may have to talk about strategy a little bit here and there. But I mean, the conversations at first base between opposing players, for sure, a bunch of fluff. We've seen a lot. It seems like we do see a lot of mound visits from catchers. It's usually pretty quick communication more often than not. Could be about signs, could be about strategy.
Granderall that time with a long look into his own dugout where Mike Scioscia was gesturing to some effect. Chu was running again, and Andrews protecting him. Fouls off another. Stays 3-2. The old catcher in his 18th year as manager here with the Angels. Longest tenured skipper in the big leagues. There we go. With a really nice lead this time, and he'll draw a throw. Salas, the 4th reliever being used today. Garrett Richards went 5. Blake Wood, Jose Alvarez, Jesse Chavez, and now Fernando Salas. It's a deep bullpen for Mike Scioscia. Another look back over at Chu. If the Angels somehow overtook the Twins and got into that wild card game, of course, that wild card game would, as it currently stands, be against the Yankees in New York. But it's a compelling Angels team to me. I mean, I'm not saying that they're my favorite, but I could certainly play out a scenario in my head where they take care of the Yankees and deal somebody fits. Is this one fouled over to the right side? And foul went out of play.
Well, they are an interesting team. Like they can match up in certain ways. The bullpen is pretty interesting as far as how deep it runs. They got great managing out of Mike Sosa, who's been there and done it a bunch of times, but the offense is good. It's a different kind of offense now with Justin Upton in that lineup. You got the best player in the game in Mike Trout. Maybe they get Brandon Phillips back. Yeah, they could make it interesting. I mean, the thing about the Twins, even though they're holding on to that wild card right now, on paper, we've talked about a bunch, not necessarily a great matchup now. You have to go out and play the games, and certainly you could see some upsets in a one-game wild card playoff.
Well hit center field. Trout is there, tagging at third base. And the Shields will score easily on the sac fly by Elvis Andrus. One away here in the 8th inning, but that's a big run, 4-1 Rangers.
That is a big one, and Rangers do a nice job here in this inning, adding on a little bit, trying to give that bullpen a little bit more of a cushion. Like 10 pitches when I think it was all said and done there for Elvis Andrus. 9 or 10?
9, yeah.
Yeah, it was good at bat. Yeah, I guess I could just look right there. It says 9. It's the first batter that Ellis faced. Makes it a little bit easier.
So Chu stays at first, and now Adrian Beltre. Adrian, 2 hits today. Really nice day at the plate. A double, a single. He's driven in 2. His next RBI will give him 70 for the year. A year that has been so sidetracked by injury, and yet very productive for the Rangers. Heartbeat, really. I mean, this is the guy who makes it all go. Despite the fact he has missed as many games as he has, missed the first 51 games the team played this year. 1-1 pitch, and this one fouled back our way. Just above the folks sitting above us. Apparently somebody must have made a nice play.
It sounds as though. Hopefully, but not like big cheers though. You know, it's kind of a weird. I feel like something else happened.
Oh. Spilled beer, something along those lines.
Could be. Still getting some looks up there.
This one over to the right side, foul. Oh, front row play.
Yep.
Oh, he had ice cream though. I understand.
Ice cream in the mini helmet,
Yeah.
and refused to put it down. So he tried to go one hand and he botched it.
Priorities. Chu again edges off the bag. And Beltre swings and lifts this one high in the air, left center field. Upton calls for it, and there are 2 gone. It'll be up to Nomar Mazara. Rangers got 2 runs in the first. Those were the Beltre RBIs. Gallo smashed a home run in the second inning. And then a sac fly this inning by Elvis Andrus. Got home their 4th run of the day. 4 runs on just 5 hits. They have managed to make the most of their opportunities today, while the Angels have arguably had more or greater opportunities, but have not been able to cash in. First pitch to Mazara. Look out. Well, got up in the seats in a hurry. Talking about schedules earlier, heading down the stretch. Angels will have a day off tomorrow, but then Cleveland comes in for 3. So those, how big are those games? And how big does that make this game? Because with the Twins winning today, Angels in danger of falling 2 back, with the specter of the Indians coming into town for 3 games. That is not a welcome spot for them inside the final 2 weeks of the season. They will then head to Houston and Chicago for 4 with the White Sox and finish at home. And it could be real interesting. The final 3 games of the year here in Southern California will be the Angels hosting the Seattle Mariners. I say that because Seattle has climbed up above everybody else. They're the team right on the Angels' heels. Swing and a miss makes it 1-2 on Mazara.
Yeah, hopefully for baseball fans, both of those clubs, they'd like those to be some interesting games that are actually going to matter in that last series, but we will see what happens here. It's the best part of that second wild card. You just never know exactly what will happen. As long as it stays close, you're going to have a chance, but at that point, probably a pretty good idea of what's going on. Anytime we can get that anytime we can get that going last series of the year where those matter, even if it's just for a wild card, I love that. Those are must-watch games.
Salas has come on and gotten 2 fly ball outs. The pitch to Mazara, and he'll foul it back to our left. And that time the folks in the upper deck couldn't make the play. Well, this inning, the entertainment has been on the foul balls in the seats. That's where the action's been.
There's been a lot of it. Almost a little scuffle down there behind the Angels dugout.
Mazara swings and misses at strike 3. The inning is done, but the Rangers add a run. It's a 4-1 game. We go to the last of the 8th.
Los Angeles, Adrian Beltre with that 2 RBI double in the first inning to get the Rangers on the board. Delano DeShields and Elvis Andrus scored. Then in the second inning, Joey Gallo having a little bit of fun at this ballpark as he drives this ball to deep right center field. I've yet to find somebody around this ballpark that has said they have seen a ball hit that far here. Measured at 490 feet. But let's take a look at our Ford game summary. I mentioned the Adrian Beltre 2-run double. Miguel Gonzalez delivered a really nice outing, and that's good for him, something he has been waiting to do now here in his 3rd start with the Rangers. He went 5 innings, allowed just 2 hits and 1 run, and that's been, for the most part, pretty much it. The Rangers added 1 in the 8th. Now they lead at 4-1, and that means Matt Bush will be coming in from the bullpen for Jeff Bannister. Let's take a look at the Ford pitch arsenal for Matt Bush. The good fastball at 98 miles an hour. He's had it all year, and he throws it almost 70% of the time. The slider and the curveball are those secondary pitches for the right-hander.
All right, he's ready to go and fires a heater right in there for a strike. Ryan Rua, the new left fielder. Mazara gets a chance to get off his feet and rest that left quad that has caused him some trouble. 1-1 to Mike Trout. It'll be Trout, Upton, and Albert Pujols in this 8th inning, and this figures to be, the highest leverage spot here in the late innings. Bush is 1-1. High fly ball. That one belted out there to left center field, and DeShields will go back and watch. Trout's 29th home run of the year, and it makes it a 2-run game.
Matt Bush decided to go at Mike Trout with a fastball. Watch the glove of Robinson Chirinos. Didn't miss by much. A little bit over the plate at 95 miles per hour. We know that Mike Trout is such a good low ball hitter. Fastball right in the sweet spot for him. And must have heard us talking about that MVP case that he's trying to make.
Injury-shortened season, and he's bumping up on 30 home runs and 70 RBIs and a better than .450 on-base percentage. Here's Justin Upton, and Bush challenges him with strike one. Jeff Bannister bringing some heat out of that bullpen. Keone Kela last inning. Matt Bush this inning. And just like that, the count 0-2 now on Upton.
Kela had a really solid outing. He went to 1 inning with 2 strikeouts. Finished off the bottom of the order, but you make a good point. Close game late here in the 8th inning. Matt Bush probably has the more difficult job trying to go through Trout, Upton, and Pujols here late.
Upton shoots this one high in the air over to the right side, fouling out of play. 0-2 the count. Upton has not had quite the big day today that he had yesterday. A couple of walks today. Yesterday was a couple of home runs. Upton, before it's all said and done, he might score 100, drive in 100. 2-strike pitch, wouldn't chase that one. Foul back again, right above us.
Sort of ready.
No, you might want to be totally ready. Taking target practice on us. This could be your big day, CJ.
Get in the position, be ready.
Nobody out here. 1-2 pitch. And that one sent foul up into the stands.
You know, not surprising either. You think about these two guys, you got a power right-handed pitcher, power right-handed batter, a lot of swing and miss, of course, in Justin Upton's swing, but he's got that little bit of that uppercut trying to get to those Matt Bush fastballs. Not surprising that he hits a lot of foul balls into the stands.
And spikes that breaking ball. 2-2 the count.
Second breaking ball we've seen from Matt Bush that was well in the dirt.
Look good. Called strike 3, and Upton down looking. 1 away.
This is paint on a fastball from Matt Bush with high velocity and hitting a corner. We talked about Justin Upton complaining about the outside pitches called strikes. That is absolutely a strike at 96, right on the corner. Perfect pitch by Matt Bush.
So big strikeout for Bush. And now Albert Pujols. Pujols having a little conversation with DJ Rayburn. About what? It is not clear. But it seems that Pujols Not in the most positive frame of mind right there. 0 for 3 today. Maybe that's part of the reason. And he takes strike one. Breaking ball from Matt Bush.
It seems like a conversation really between him and Robinson Chirinos too. I think. I don't know if he's kind of looking back. I'm not quite sure. The pitch was definitely a strike, so it can't be about the pitch.
Little low, 1-1. Rangers have a shift on the infield for Pujols to pull it to the left side. Fouls that one right off of Chirinos. 1-2 the count.
The second time we've seen Albert Pujols go out pretty decent distance to get a foul ball. You'll see that here. Just catch Robinson right in the mask. That was scary. And plate umpire DJ Rayburn steps out just to give Robinson a little bit of a breather. And now Kevin Harmon is going to come out and check on Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. Robinson basically missed a full season in 2012 with concussion issues. A guy who didn't even start catching until 2008. This is his 8th professional season, or rather in his 8th professional season. Came up with the Rays. Rays had designated him for assignment early 2013, and that's when the Rangers came in and swooped him up, thinking of him maybe as kind of a utility guy, but he has been a great catcher and now has been the everyday guy. And this one rolled into the left side of the infield. Long throw, Elvis Andrus! Oh my! Whoa. What a play regardless. Jeff Bannister might want to look at this, but take a bow, Elvis Andrus. Some kind of effort on that play.
That was great range. Now, Greg Gibson did not say that Joey Gallo was off the bag, right? You'll get that call more often than not where if the throw had beaten the runner and then they kind of swing the arms to the side as if to say he was off the bag. But first, let's admire the great range of Elvis Andrus and the long throw. Now, watch Joey Gallo. It certainly did appear that he stayed on the bag. And it certainly did appear that the throw beat him. Well, see what happens. Jeff Bannister has decided to challenge this.
Now we'll get a handful of different looks at this, as they will back in New York.
It's the quickest and furthest I've seen Jeff Bannister this year come out right away, because everyone was so excited about the play, and he jumped out there so quick and got out almost to the grass. Let's see it here. Well, definitely closer than we thought. Ooh, he's probably going to be safe. Wow.
Yeah.
Tell you what, watching it full speed from here, I thought for sure Elvis had him. He did not. So credit Greg Gibson. Nice call.
Can't be too many infield hits for Albert Pujols this year. And that's only sort of an infield hit for Albert Pujols. That one got pretty far out there in the left field. That'll do it for Matt Bush. Jeff Bannister has already signaled to the bullpen a man on, 1 out here in the 8th. Great one going here today. Rangers fans, download the Fox Sports Go app and take Rangers baseball with you wherever you go. If you can't catch the games on TV, you can still stream them live on your mobile device with the Fox Sports Go app, presented by AT&T and Hyundai. What a play by Elvis Andrus just a moment ago. But an infield hit for Albert Pujols, and now Jake Diekman has come on in this 8th inning.
We'll take a look at the forward pitch arsenal for Jake Diekman. Good fastball, averaging 94 miles an hour, and that slider that sits at 82. It is a very simple 2-pitch mix for Jake Diekman, but it is a very nasty one as well. Good fastball, good slider, and he'll get the lefty Cole Calhoun here in the 8th. Remember, this was the same spot in the game where Jeff Bannister went to Mendez, the lefty. It was back in the 6th inning, so he really likes matching up left-handed pitchers at this point in the lineup against the Angels.
Calhoun 0 for 3 today. Twice his flight out to left field, and once is grounded out to second base. There's only one out in the inning. Rangers would love a ground ball to second base right here. Pujols at first base, next to no speed. And Calhoun grounds one, second base, and Odor will take the out at first. The throw to second actually beat Pujols there.
He was called for being out of the baseline anyway.
Ah, there we go. And there's a double play, and here comes Mike Scioscia.
Now that was the call, and probably the right one, as Albert Pujols tried to avoid the tag. And just so you understand, what is the base path? Well, the base path is created by the runner. And so for the runner, you get 3 feet to either side of that. So as he's running right here, he can go 3 feet. And they're saying that is more than 3 feet, and it is. And that's a good call. He's out. And look out, that almost hit the umpire in the head. You see that throw?
Well, that's just it. The throw back to second base was a little scary. It beat Pujols there, but no tag was offered, and the whole, the play was already done. The call was made, and so that double play ends it. You can't challenge that.
See Elvis's reaction to that throw? It was almost a really scary moment.
Well, it ends the inning, and the Angels have to settle for the 1 run on Trout's homer. We go to the 9th. It's gotten the Angels to within 2. We go to the 9th inning here. Rangers will get a look at another new Angels pitcher. Eduardo Paredes has come on here.
And for the right-hander, 14th game of the year for him. You see the 12 strikeouts to the 6 walks. So even I know that's a perfect 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. For the right-hander, good fastball, averaging 94 miles an hour. He throws a slider, curveball, and a changeup. So a true 4-pitch mix for Paredes.
5th reliever, 6th pitcher overall used today by the Angels. And Chirinos Been kept off the bases all day today. He's reached in 29 straight. Has one more shot here in the 9th inning. Streak for Chirinos. Longest current streak right now in baseball. The longest for a Ranger in 5 years. Last time a Texas Ranger had reached safely in 29 consecutive games, Elvis Andrus in 2012. Yesterday was hitless with a walk. Now he has played seemingly every day. He started 7 of the last 8 games behind the plate. And he strikes out swinging in this 9th inning, 1 away.
It's good elevated fastball from Radius. You see it there, up out of the strike zone.
Now Joey Gallo. And he takes strike 1. Gallo 1 for 3 with that massive home run. It's 0-2. Off day tomorrow. Off day for both these teams. Angels stay home. Rangers will head to Seattle after the game this afternoon and enjoy an off day in the Emerald City tomorrow and begin play Tuesday night. It's funny when you're on the road and you play an early game on a Sunday and you don't play again until Tuesday night. It seems like days between games.
That is a really long break, and it'll feel that way for players as well. And they'll get a little bit more of a taste of that next year with the new 4 added days that are part of the schedule now, the off days. But you're right, that is a long break.
Strike 3 called. Gallo doesn't like it, but he is down looking in the 9th inning.
Let's take a look at this pitch here to Joey Gallo. The setup was away, the ball finished in, and so that's why he got a little frustrated, because you sit there and you look at the catcher's glove, it looked like he missed the spot by a lot, and he did. And it finishes down and in, which is a great spot for Joey Gallo. We saw him crush that baseball earlier today on a pitch that was down and in. Looked like that one just jumped on him a little bit quicker and caught him off guard.
Well, 2 away. And Rougned Odor pops this one up in short right field. Calhoun is in. And just like that, the Rangers go quietly in the 9th inning, but they lead by 2. Last chance coming for the Angels. Bottom of the 9th on the way. Here we go, last of the 9th inning, and Jake Diekman came on to get the last 2 outs last inning. Got him on a double play, and he'll continue to work here in the 9th. Andrelton Simmons, 0 for 3, will start things off for the Angels. The Angels have, part of their story this year has been their ability to come back late in games. 1-1 the count.
You see Tony Barnett warming up just as a backup here to Jake Diekman.
Didn't miss by much. 2-1 the count.
Simmons, we mentioned it earlier, struggling against lefties this year. You got Valbuena, the lefty, who has really struggled. I believe that we'll see probably a pinch hitter for him. C.J. Cron. Potentially Juan Gratterwall, and I gotta believe there'd be another pinch hitter there.
Well, Simmons a big key to this thing. Ahead here, 3-1. Keeping that lead man off. Awfully important. There's a walk. So Simmons is on to start the 9th, and that assures that the Angels get the potential tying run to the plate in the 9th inning.
I mentioned there probably would be a pinch hitter, and now there is one. Chad Pennington will be stepping in against Jake Diekman.
Cliff Pennington.
I mean Cliff, not the quarterback, sorry.
Yeah. You get your fantasy lineup in early.
I hope nobody has him in their fantasy lineup. It's been a decade or so.
And Diekman misses with ball 1.
Doug Brocail's going to come out here and talk to Jake Diekman, make sure that he's settled down. Now you look at Pennington and what he's done overall this season, a .264 hitter, and the splits are about even. .268 against lefties, .262 against righties, although he has gotten on base at a much higher clip against right-handed pitching. .340 on base for Pennington against those righties, only .276 against the lefties. 13 strikeouts and 1 walk against left-handed pitching this year. So this is a favorable matchup for Jake Diekman.
He will be throwing strikes here in this 9th inning. He has walked Simmons. Pennington bounces it to third base. Middlebrooks is there. The second one, the relay. In time, double play. And that'll take a little wind out of the sails here in Anaheim.
You couldn't have asked for a better ground ball. This is a perfect double play type ground ball to Will Middlebrooks at third base. He gets the really nice high hop. Check it out right here. The good fastball, of course, that we see from Jake Diekman. Good feed to Rougned Odor and the strong throw over to first, and a no-doubter double play. The Rangers continue to do such a great job in that area this year. Whatever Doug Brocail said to Jake Diekman, put that in a bottle and sell it.
Now first pitch swinging. Bouncer at third base. Middlebrooks takes care of Cone and the Angels in the 9th inning. And so the Rangers hold on and win a 4-2 ball game, salvage a win in this series, and really do damage to these Angels in their pursuit of a wild card. They are now 2 games out.
He did a great job putting out that fire very quickly, just 2 pitches later after the leadoff walk. But a nice day here for the Rangers. Joey Gallo showing off the power. The pitching staff doing a really nice job. Miguel Gonzalez in his first win as a Ranger. So overall, a very nice effort here for the Texas Rangers.
Any positive to pull from this one? A 4-2 Rangers win. Rick Renner, Mark McLemore, Darren Oliver will be right back to bring you all the player reaction and analysis from this one. For CJ Nitkowski, Emily Jones, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. Rangers Live postgame show starts right after this.